Liddy Bro Flacco. I think you are muted.
Yeah.
And I need to update the name over here. So what's up, everybody? This is a slightly different episode of these Saturday festivities. Sorry, I'm multitasking and typing your name. But yo, I'm joined over here with Mr. Liddy Blow Flacco, who I spelled his name wrong. Fixing that. Dope.
Salutations, ladies and gentlemen.
And since we went ahead and did the regularly scheduled program yesterday on some scheduling stuff, Liddy Bro Flacco was like, why don't we watch some old clips and talk about them and whatnot? And that just seemed like a pretty cool idea. So basically, that's what we are going to go and do once he comes back and we get started with it. So I'm glad everybody's here. This is definitely I would say a little bit of a chiller experience than what we have done in the last little bit. So definitely not the same kind of structured experience. So yeah, I'm waiting for now Flacco to come and share his screen, and we'll get on it. I don't really have any set itinerary for this. And I'm also not the biggest fan of radio silence, but I also don't have a whole lot to say. So I do feel I'm rambly, and I apologize for that, everybody out there watching this. We'll get started real soon with it. So how is everybody's day in general? If anyone there wants to answer, that would be cool. Advertisement
pretty good,
plug
man.
time.
Pretty good.
That's fresh.
We just came off of we did a cooking show a few hours ago, and it turned out really good. We cooked Rasta pasta, and a lot of people were involved, and yeah, it was a good turnout.
So what is Rasta pasta? Because personally, I'm not 100% sure what that is.
All right, so Rasta pasta is a Jamaican dish where it's pretty much you either use jerk chicken or jerk shrimp, and you just put it with pasta. You make your own sauce. It's like a cheesy sauce, like an Alfredo kind of sauce. And,
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a combination of jerk and Alfredo. I guess that's the easiest way to put it.
That's blessed.
Mm-hmm.
And you do this cooking every week now, or how often do you do this?
No, today was like the first time in a minute, but I think we're planning on doing it. We're going to try to be more consistent, so we're going to try to put together a schedule for that. For every week.
I was peeping it on Facebook, and it looked fun. I was watching it, and I'm like, nah, this is as good as any other cooking show I've seen ever. I don't really have good cooking show options like that, but no, it was really fucking fresh. So what other things would you plan on cooking? Also, yeah, my audience is asking, who are you? Because I'm not even sure 100% myself.
My name is Kai Vase. So Kai Vase, I'm a music producer, formerly rap artist. Definitely EODub affiliate. Been with EODub for well over 15 years now. Participated in a few MC challenges. Placed in a few of them, and yeah, just still here, still rocking with EODub, still supporting them, and yeah, just glad to be here. That's all.
It's good to have you here. I mean, I like meeting new people. That's kind of what we've been doing here at Bridge the Gap, is bridging gaps. Because like in my case, I honestly did not know a lot of people in the end of the week universe prior to, like, I was even thinking about it last year. I think it was like June-ish is about the first time I even jumped on the Zoom and participated in an end of the week thing ever. Mm. So it's kind of cool to like delve into the end of the week universe. Like it feels like it's an extended universe, like the Marvel cinematic things.
Yeah.
And everybody's like this different character that just plays this pivotal and important role in terms of making it all work. And that's cool.
That's what I would say. I'd say it's very accurate. Like there's so many chapters, there's so many it has expanded in so many different countries and regions. So I say that's very accurate because I don't think there's always going to be people you don't know because it's just so widespread now. You know, I couldn't even tell you how many different countries the EOW is in right now.
There's a whole bunch on the logo I have there, so that's definitely there. Oh, Flacco has started screen sharing.
Sorry,
so
guys. I'm so
No
sorry.
worries about that.
My fault, gentlemen. And thank you, Script
Yo,
Kavitz.
you held that down. It was so helpful. I was dying by myself over there. You saved me for real, reals.
No doubt.
I figured we would start out with our first interview, which was Nunzio. You know what I mean? Like, speaking of the superheroes that embody and make up the EOW family, let's like go back to like our first interview when we set this journey off together with Nunzio. And then when that clip is done, now that I have it already, we can like do something like a little bit more. I don't know. I'm gonna go play the clip. I'll be right back.
I only partially know what you're saying because you gotta understand. I'm a 33-year-old white dude who grew up in Montreal. Right? So like a lot of stuff that maybe for you is like that's just what it is. For me, it's like, holy shit, you gotta tell me more because you're breaking down why these rappers is saying this shit. Because honestly, as I talk to y'all in New York more, it really adds layers of context into the world of growing up. Because I could not tell you what it's like to be an 8-year-old at that time in anywhere in I think you said Harlem, I'm sorry, I forgot which borough you said.
In the Bronx.
In the Bronx. So you said that, like, you go to me, I'm living in apartments in Montreal. It is just nothing alike. So what is it like? Because, you said breakdancing at such a young age? That's not my reality at all. Tell us about being a kid and how the music was around you. Like, I think people need to hear this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so even in the schools, there'd be parties, you know what I mean? So knowing the lyrics was always a big thing. And knowing the right lyrics made you like cool, you know what I'm saying? Because people would just mouth words and know the chorus, but not necessarily know all the words. So if you knew all the words, you could really act up. And you dance while you acting out the words and trying to make dances that resemble what the words are saying, you know what I mean? So, definitely always had like a crew of people. I was always one of those cats that had the circle around him when he started to dance. I was just good at it, naturally, I guess. But you definitely watch videos to learn new moves and all of that. And video access, videos weren't big back then. Videos was a big production. So videos was like Friday night at 11:30 and it ended at midnight.
I have like the worst fucking look on my face.
You had a half an hour a week to watch something. Then you had
What
Video
the fuck,
Music
man?
Box, which was like
Nunzio
right
in the
after
Puerto
school. I
Rico
gotta get home because it came
EOW
on at
show.
4 in the afternoon. But that was how I got up on hip hop, and
Is it Puerto Rico?
pretty much the videos that they put out would always contain people dancing. So
Vanguard, are you around? Can you confirm? Is that Puerto Rico? I think that's Puerto Rico.
Because I would not only learn some new music to search for or learn the lyrics from watching the video, but I would also learn new dances at the same time watching it.
So I'm not gonna lie, you just dropped what I call a knowledge nugget on us all. That's one of these moments where you said something so fucking insightful that it unveiled a layer of perception in at least my mind that I'm sure the minds of others. Music videos confuse me a lot in the current era because they're basically movie productions, and honestly, half the time I have nothing to do with the song, and they're honestly kind of boring to me. That's me. A lot of people might like them, and that's totally fine. But when people explain to me almost the history of it and why a little bit things happen, so dance is a huge part of hip-hop. It's maybe one of the pillars that I'm less familiar with as a person, but it's a pillar. It really is a fundamental element of this. And I never even considered the fact that a music video is a mechanism to share the dance moves with the people in an era prior to internet. Like, Nunzio, thank you for sharing that kind of profound insight with us. That's a huge thing, and it even explains
It
a
is.
lot of the tone and style of the music videos of this era, because again, I never would have put two and two together like that.
Yeah, it's more of a fancy visual now. But I will say this: when videos first started out, it literally was just a person singing, maybe like a background, and they put stuff in the background. It wasn't that high tech, you know. But when people started having relevant songs, they wanted to make like mini movies out of them. So they would actually, the content of the video would reflect the words that they were saying. So, you know, it elevated, and we kind of took a step back now. There are some people still that do videos with the where the footage is actually significant to what the song is. You know what I mean?
Right. So, what was the song that made you decide to go, I'm going to take all of this stuff more seriously? I got to start recording this shit. I got to start building my fucking catalog. What was the song because that's to me the identity former. For me,
All right,
Cisco's the
well,
thong song. So, what's your one?
This is tough because honestly, the first song that got me motivated to even rhyme or do any type of music stuff was Roxanne, Roxanne by UTFO.
Okay.
The story behind that is once they put that out, then there became the real Roxanne, and she had the rebuttal to it. You know what I mean? Then they had Roxanne Shante, who was actually the real Roxanne. You know what I'm saying? Which was very ironic. But then there was these battles going on back and forth. You know, so I think the main song that got me really like, okay, like hip hop is it, was a battle between KRS-One and MC Shan. So you had The Bridge.
What were you listening to before that?
Then The Bridge is over. You know what I'm saying? So that was like really what got me motivated. I literally would listen to those two songs back to back for like an hour straight. You know, we take
What did you listen to besides rap though, none back then?
I mean, I listened to all types of genres, but it definitely once hip hop got into my scope, like that was it. You know what I mean? I was definitely like, I'm sticking with this. You know,
It got to me so much earlier.
That's fair.
We're the same age, basically.
Yeah, you're right, dude.
Fair enough. Anyway, so you still with us, Flacco? I'm not sure what the intended follow-up move is exactly. Or are we going straight into it? I want to keep talking about this timeline, but you said Aesop.
Ooh, I see a bus moving though. This is good. I'm cool with this because Flacco's the one doing that side, so I don't have to stress. He's clicking. Damn, that's like a memory that I forgot. It feels like that's only 3 months ago, but it feels like a lot longer than 3 months ago.
Should I stop sharing so we could talk about the clips?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, stop sharing, and then we can bounce back. And I'll swap you as my pin. And then, so I'm switching scenes now. I'm trying to be fancy with my OBS skills, and it's probably not the simplest thing. But yeah, that was like, fuck, man. That was sincerely, I had no idea. But yeah, I'm not 1,000% sure exactly what to talk about with regards to clips like that. I'm not even sure.
Nunzio is just a plethora of knowledge. It was a blessing to have him be the first guest. I thought that it would be a just great interview, and he was exactly that. You know,
it was delightful. He had so much fun with it. He was just like, yeah, I was there, and then just started talking, and it was dope. I don't know, like I feel like it's just like there's so much stuff as I talk to more people where like literally it didn't look anything like that growing up, but like there's this limited glimpse into the world of hip hop that you got through like whatever limited platforms played out through my life. And then talking to somebody like Nunzio and all the others since, it's been like,
holy shit, that goes way deeper. Like the idea of leaving your house and having people play music isn't really a thing here. You know, like
Yeah.
that is different. That is not even the same culture as like, so like understanding all of that is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's totally the vibe out here. Like you even like get up you get up on like what's really hot in the streets just literally by going outside, crossing the street, cars driving by, you hear whatever, playing, and you're just like, okay. Clearly, like I've heard that 4 times now out of 4 different cars. Clearly that's like one of the songs that the city is really loving right now, and that's just something as simple as that. But like it back then it was all the way what Nunzio was describing.
That's fresh. Whoops, click the button I shouldn't have clicked. But yeah, honestly, that was great. I just liked his energy a lot too. Like Nunzio is so sincere and consistently decent. Decent as a good, like as a human, like when you think decent human being, like that's what I felt the whole way through the fucking interview too, which was really cool. Like there was no ego. It was just a delight. It was just a pleasure. And it's like he's as excited to tell the story as anyone is to listen to it. And I think that made it really magical too.
Yeah. I mean, Nunzio is a classy guy, man. And then he's full of so much like, I did this dope shit. I did that dope shit.
He doesn't think it's dope shit. He's just like, I did
It's
shit.
just his life.
And then we're adding the word dope in because we think it's really dope. And then he kind of humble brags like, I guess it was dope. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I guess it was.
I mean, it was fun. It's fun. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what else to say about that clip, really. The Dalai Lama thing, all of them were cool. All of the Dunzio interview was fun. I just remember like it was eye-opening. I had no idea what to expect, and it was eye-opening. And then each one has been kind of more eye-opening since, in terms not like a shocking way, but like New York is like an onion full of layers, like Shrek style, like like the layers in the onion.
Yeah, I try to explain to people that like whatever you're like into, whatever is like your thing, New York City's got like a whole group of people like that do that. And you can find other people that are like-minded, no matter how niche the thing you're into is. Like you can find a whole bunch of people in New York City that are into it.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess we can do the next clip. I'm not really sure what to say about this one, really, or what else to say, or if anyone else has something to say.
Yeah. Hold up. I'm gonna share.
No worries, man. This time, maybe older. I don't really know.
I'm a little older. The ages. I mean, I'm an older dude, but the ages like blur to where we were at the time. But I'll tell you what was happening is that, frankly, this is all pivotal too, because Nun and I were getting a lot more. By the way, the Solid Ground, as many levels as it was, somehow it also boiled back to just Nunzio and I being Solid Ground. So I have a song back in the day where I talked about how Solid Ground was really big, and then it started with me and Nun, and it went back to me and Nun. But we're now performing in NY. We're trying to get shows. We're trying to get booked everywhere. We're doing showcases. We're doing open mics. We're doing anything we can to rhyme. You know what I mean? And I remember we were so hungry to rhyme. as years passed and I hosted EO Dub for many years, there would be nights where it gets super late, like 2 in the morning, and there would only be like one person in the audience, but one other person wanted to rhyme. And when they want to rhyme, part of me, maybe it was my ego, but part of me would be like, why do you want to just rhyme for this one person? Like, you might as well just rhyme at your crib, like the show's over. But I remember I was that dude, yo. I was the dude who wanted to rhyme, just I don't care if it was one person, no people, if they would put us on. And we went to this spot one time called Black Lily. Black Lily was a show that was from Philadelphia, and they would come up every Sunday night and do this show at a club called the Wetlands. Wetlands is closed now, but a dope club way downtown. And frankly, this was a show that Questlove would run. You would see early Jill Scott, Badu, Jaguar, that group Kindred, and this group called Jazzy Fat Nasties, which was two young ladies. And Jazzy Fat Nasties would host Black Lily. Now, at the time, Nunn and I didn't know that it was a female dominated show. They wanted women to perform. We just heard it was the shit, and when we walked in, it was super groovy. I think fuck around, I think Black Thought was on the stage. I mean, he had carte blanche, of course, but I remember when he I got you on that, Van, where he was on stage, but we went to sign the list. We went up and signed the list, and the girl was going through list after list, and we were noticing it was only women coming up on stage. And we was like, oh shit, maybe this is just for women. We didn't know. She got to our name, and we started walking towards the stage, and she destroyed us verbally, like from the stage. She was like, "Oh, these motherfuckers think that they gonna come up here. This is a woman open mic, and we did it." Like shitted on us. Like spotlight was on us in the crowd, and she was like, "How dare you try to, OD on the female open mic?" We felt like shit. We walked back. I felt grimy, but yo, I was still that fucking dude who wanted to rhyme so bad in front of this crowd. Don't you know? I went back to that young lady, spoke to her, apologized. We didn't know this, that, and the other. She spoke to me. Speaks kind of to my character and like the responsible mom, like Liddy, like Flacco said. Yo, she was like, "I'll see," right? The show went on and on and on. It got to be like 2 in the morning, and she came out and she was like, "You know what? I want to say something to this crowd. Earlier there were these two dudes and they tried to come up here and I thought they were being disrespectful, but this man was such a gentleman. He was so warm and thoughtful or whatever. We're gonna let them come on and rock right now, ladies and gentlemen, solid ground." And we got to spit that night, right? Again, it was a sparse crowd, but it speaks to how hungry I was to get on the mic like at any time, and B, to the responsible mom in me that was like, listen, we didn't mean that. No disrespect to black womanhood. Like, we just want to rock. And as a result, it got us on stage. That's a true story.
Yo,
And
that's like a huge thing that you just said, right? Because look, there's a lot of people right now struggling with the adjusting social climate. Like somehow it's hard to be respectful all of a sudden. I personally get where you're coming from. I find it highly advantageous to live in the way that you just described. And what you just shared is how by being humble, by owning your mistake, showing a sense of self-awareness to the situation, and by approaching the person respectfully to explain the misunderstanding, right? Because it was a misunderstanding and you explained it. You explained your end respectfully. At the end of the day, good things happened out of that situation because of your attitude and how you approached it. Now, you look at a lot of people in the world of Twitters and everybody's angry and stuff, but if more people were to approach situations the way that you approached that
yeah,
situation when misunderstandings happen, there'd be a whole lot less Facebook beefs and a whole lot less arguments, a whole lot less things going on. So I really appreciate you sharing that too. That's
I would
huge.
agree. Yeah, thank you, bro. Well, in that vein, right, to continue, and this connects. And Van asked me to share this story, and this is also a true story. Is that in this time we're going to these clubs in New York and we're performing. And now it has boiled down to just Nunzio and myself, and we are called Solid Ground. And we have a cadre of songs, bless you. We have a group of songs that we're performing, that we're trying to fine tune and do, that we have together. We think some really strong music, some of which later turned into our first EP, which is called Strategy God. But we had some of these songs cooking, right? We're going to these clubs in downtown Manhattan. Sometimes we're hanging at a bar called Bob's, which we used to rock out. Stretch Armstrong would spin there. Bobito used to spin there. And we were performing at a spot called Spiral. And Spiral had a DJ named Joey Ty. right? And had this other group that kept performing that were really good called Eye to Eye, right? And Eye to Eye consisted of Vice, Pro, and Ego Trip. And I can't front. I mean, for me, I wonder really, we have to ask them how they looked at it. But it really, for me, it was like super rivalry. You know what I'm saying? Not to the point where Solid Ground hated Eye to Eye, but I definitely saw them as a threat. Like I saw them like, yo, who the fuck are these dudes? You know what I'm saying? Like that was really the type energy. It'd be interesting to hear what Vice would have or what Pro or Ego Trip would say. But that was my initial reaction was like, you know what I'm saying? They kind of nice, but yo, they not John Blaze like our shit. You know what I'm saying? We got more John Blaze shit. That's what I was on in my mind. Very competitive. And I remember times getting on before them and watching their reaction to us and getting on after them and watching their stage show. And they just were so energetic. It had so much adrenaline. And I don't even know if we were speaking to them yet. We still would kind of give them eyes like these niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? As we would pass each other in the club. But the one thing that's interesting is the DJ for the night, Joey Ty, he knew both crews, right? He knew both of us. So now put that on the shelf in your mind, right? Early on in the year 2000, I got married, right? I just celebrated my 20th wedding
Yo,
anniversary. My wife is,
congratulations. That's
yeah,
huge.
salute. That is pretty huge. Uh, and here I am getting married, right? And this is how ill the story is. I get married. Who was the DJ at my wedding? Joey Ty. That's a fact. It's legendary. So Joey came to South Jersey to DJ at my wedding. He was like my favorite club DJ in New York, and I was almost like, oh my god, I can't believe I could get him to spin at my record. Fun fact: the hot record at the time, y'all, that I was like, you got to play this, you got to play this, Joey, was Doom, 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 Doom. Whoa, skibbity dibbity dibbity. It was that Shine record, and I had like specifically was like, hold this record for this part of the night because it goes hard. Anyway, Joey Ty was the DJ at my wedding. Spoke to Joey Ty, paid him that night. I'll never forget. It was dope. He bodied it. And Eileen and I, my wife and I, went on our honeymoon. We are on the beach in Cancun, and we're talking about like our lives back at home. And I've often said this to people that sometimes when you are on vacation, it's almost like you can look at your home life like objectively. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're away from it, you're out of it, so you can almost see it clearer because you're looking at it from the outside in. So we're on the beach, and I literally am saying to Eileen, like, listen, when we give people our CD and stuff and give people our music and like our cassette tape at this point, we're not getting a good response, right? But when they see us live at shows, they loving us. You know what I'm saying? When we perform, people are like, yo, your shit is dope. Da, da, da. They're coming up after the show. They're super hype. But when we just give them the CD, we don't even hear nothing back. We're not getting a lot of love. So I said, you know what? When I get home, anybody that offers me a show, and even at this point, I was like, if they could offer Solid Ground or Big Zoo, I'm gonna take it. Anything, anybody that offers me a show, I'm gonna take it. And yo, we go back home, and on the answering machine, when literally had an answering machine, so this is how old it was, but on the answering machine, Joey Ty was like, yo, Zoo, I got this opportunity for you to rock. It's on a Sunday night. I want you to host, you as Solid Ground to host with Eye to Eye. I want to put y'all together, and I think together you'd be dope hosting. So it was really Joey Ty's idea. So in my mind, I'm already like, oh, these Eye to Eye niggas, but they are dope. But that's kind of like rivalry. Like, let's see how it goes down. I even agree to go to the night, but I'm going like tentatively. We
Right,
go
right.
there that first night, and it becomes fucking EO dub, yo. We go the very first night, and Joey Ty can't come. We find out later that Joey Ty was sick. He had cancer, and he quickly passed away. So we call this, you know, up until the 20th year, we called it the living legacy of Joey Ty, and now in essence, it's the living legacy of Vice Versus, right? It's almost like past torches in an ill, like Jedi way. In 20 years, it was Joey Ty's legacy, but now forever forth, we'll say Vice Versus, you know. But Joey Ty couldn't come. Vice fuck around had the number to this DJ. He's like, I'm gonna see if I could get this DJ to come. He got Scram Jones to come, And that shit was fucking magic. Like, as I think about it now, like literally from the very first night, yo, the shit was like, oh shit, like we're dope together. Like you sound dope, you sound dope, you like we're all dope together. And with Scram Jones spinning, that shit was incredible, man. And that was the very first night of EO Dub. That was like August 20 something in the year 2000.
It's crazy. Man, it's just interesting to hear Big Zoo right next to Nunzio telling stories and how different they tell stories. At like a very like you're muted, Mr. Liddy Bros.
Right?
So it's just I like the way Big Zoo. It's like Big Zoo talks like you're reading a book, and I mean that in the best possible way. I enjoy it so much. It's like every detail structured in such a perfect way to build up so that you don't have to ask him questions after. And
Yeah,
I like
not
that.
facts.
I like that a lot. But
Fact.
yeah.
Shouts out to Life Versus, and he was given the origin of the platform that we're on. You know what I mean? Like end of the week, without them having had that fateful night, they wouldn't have established a platform that has existed for 20 years now, that now exists on a Zoom 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, where like we broadcast our show on Saturdays, you know, and a bunch of tons of other content is broadcast all week long, Sunday through Saturday.
Including cooking shows, which is
including
cool.
Cooking shows.
That's what,
yep.
Yeah, it was
the
dope.
power of yes, Vanguard said in the comments. Van, you can feel free to jump in, you know, like your name is getting like mentioned a lot, you know, like, and this is all, you know.
Peace, Dutch. Peace, Holden. What I was just saying there with the power of yes is like, that's the spirit of Vice. You know, like Zoo said in that segment, you know, I was down to do this thing because Joey was asking me, but somewhat reluctant, not because we have rivalry or beef, but just like our shit's more John Blaze than that. Why would we need to come together like that, you know? But he decided to say yes, you know? And on the other side of that same exact story and scenario, James tells his side, which is he was managing Vice, and they were together in Long Island at like a vacation, similar to Zoo being away on honeymoon and coming back and doing his first show. Jason was like, I'm leaving the vacation house early to go do this show. And James is like, all right, bro, have fun. I'm definitely staying the extra 2 days and getting my beach time in. Like, I'll see you back in New York. Like, let me know how it goes, you know? And he tells that story with the feeling like, I was fronting on it a little bit. Like why you want to go do an open mic? We're like about to go get paid for shows, you know? And Vice was the power of yes. He was like, I'm gonna go after this. I'm gonna do it. And they all came together, and like Zoo says accurately, Vice fucking pulls his Rolodex out, and Scram Jones's numbers at the top of the list, and the EO Dub was born. You know, so it's really an amazing thing, and the power of yes. You know, say yes, try things, do things, new things, all the time.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah. No. Thank you so much, Van. Yeah. Absolutely. Though. You know, and like look at what all the it's innumerable the amount of people that went through those doors wherever the house was, right? Because the home is wherever the family is, you know. But like throughout the years, throughout 20 years, every Sunday, guaranteed, you know, a lot of people goes through those doors to build up their, you know, their chops and their stage presence.
Can I jump in for a second here?
Yeah, feel free.
Yo, let me tell you, you know, growing up, I was very involved in hip hop, but I was always at live music venues with bands playing. So everybody's biggest complaint always was Run DMC is the only one that's good live. But yo, Like Zoo was talking about before, Everybody Loved Us Live. He was doing it before the pyramid, but he had football practice every fucking Sunday. Well, really, the game was every Sunday. For how long? You know, like, yo, these dudes were rocking. I never went to the Dub without seeing Zoo on the stage. I was there probably every weekend for the first 4 years at least. You know, these guys. Listen, I say this all the time. DMC, they made it better than Run. I'm sorry for what it is now. When they did that performance at the Dub, if you watch it on YouTube, they made DMC fucking sound amazing. And he's got the throat problem and shit. So amazing, dude. These guys, Logan from The Future, when he first started, he would come on and say like 2 words every 5 minutes, and these guys would carry him fucking through, and the whole crowd would be going nuts, yo. Like,
I remember.
Yo, fucking these guys, like, really, they cared.
Yeah, no, they care.
Fucking cared.
They absolutely do. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing for hip hop. New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Always spread the word. Forever. I can never stop.
Mm-hmm. Tattooed on them.
Don't get it twisted. I'm the first EO Dub tattoo ever. Other people
I
might
believe
be
it.
the first stamp.
It's not even hard to believe.
I had this before the stamp was designed.
Do me a favor, bro. Introduce yourself. So
Damian
people know
Burns.
who they're talking to. Word.
Sorry, it's Damian Burns. But yeah, that's it for now. Good shit.
I appreciate you. That was fun. All right. Does anyone have more to say on this before we, I guess, move on to the next clip or something? Any more commentary on that? I'm just grateful that Dub exists because here we are. So, it's dope. I find like the vibe is nice. But yeah, I wasn't around for any of the inception points for it. So it's just kind of cool to hear people talk about it.
It's amazing. I mean, there's just not enough good that I could say about it, without it sounding repetitive after a while. But,
you could never get this through to somebody that doesn't know, like how much love and dedication was put. These guys paid to use the pyramid every fucking night. Imagine that. I used to get so mad. I'm like, are you crazy? But they didn't care, man. That was the deal they had. They liked the room. They had to pay for it. They did it, man. For hip hop.
They did it. Yeah, for hip hop. Facts. Yeah, let's go ahead and do the next one.
Dope.
Bobbito is. All right, okay. So I know what a Bobbito is, kid, is kind of, because I've heard the names, and it's been said to me, Stretch and Bobbito, I remember that. The context is not really there. I just kind of get that that's a thing that happened in history one time. If you want to elaborate on what it means to be a Bobbito kid, that would be fucking fire.
I know what that means now.
First is the Stretch Kid.
Okay. I don't
know.
But
Stretch was more the street shit. Bobbito was more the fucking goofy shit. See, if you really want to break it down, within the Stretch and Bobbito-ness of the situation, because remember they had a rift, but to keep it general.
Holden does not know.
Like, what the fuck are you talking
He's
about?
like, I do not mean.
Stretch Armstrong. It was the Stretch Armstrong show. That was
I like that comment.
That was one of the most.
Holden, sir, I already explained that I do not know what you're saying. But please continue.
You know what I'm saying? And they actually and they were from I believe it was pretty much all of the 90s, really. It was from like WKCR was the station, 89.9, Columbia University, and it was on like pretty much until like from like 1990 to like 2000, pretty much 10 years. But that was pretty much the era where we were growing up in our shit and coming to age type shit. So like that Bobbito. He was the guy. Well, Stretch and Bobbito, Stretch Armstrong and Bobbito.
This means way more to me now than it did then. I can tell you that much.
And I listened to Hot 97 too, but I'm not gonna act like I didn't. But if you like, Hot 97 played all the commercial stuff as they do today, as they true to that in 2021.
They played all the commercial stuff. But at that time, New York had a lot of, we still had, remember, that's the era where Biggie was on the radio, like Bad Boy was running shit. You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang said there was a lot of New York on the radio. But at the same time, but if you wanted that, if you wanted the stuff under the surface, you had to turn on the Stretch Armstrong and Bobbito. And it was on from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. on Thursday nights. So what we would do was, put the tape on 1 a.m. Like I used to train myself to hear it, yo. Because I had to go to school in the morning. So I would 1 o'clock, I would stay up as long as I could. I would record. And when I hear it click, I would just blindly just turn the tape over and just press record again. You know what I mean? So it's 4 hours of hip hop. And the thing about Stretch and Bobbito, they introduced the world to people such as, Wu-Tang, like all the people that were pivotal in the 90s, like Bobbito introduced the world to them. Stretch and Bobbito introduced the world to them before mostly everybody. Like the first time I heard Nas was on there. You know what I'm saying? First time we heard Mobb Deep, first time we heard Wu-Tang. And on top of that, they gave fucking kids chances, yo. They gave my nigga P8, my nigga P8 was on there back when motherfuckers were still in school type shit. You know what I'm saying? Playing promos from everybody. So Bobbito, he was like our access. He was our access to everything. So, and he was really really in the street. Like it wasn't like the Funkmaster Flexes and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So Bobbito was like, yo, we gonna be at the New Rico Poets Cafe. I pulled up the New Rico Poets Cafe. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much how I jump-started my shit. You know what I mean? My only goal when I started rhyming was to be on Bobbito. That's a fact.
Yeah, I just gotta thank you for that. That is literally the essence of this show. You just dropped knowledge nuggets. So what we learned is a lot of things. First of all, when you added some context, like the first time we heard Nas was on this shit, like that's something I could relate to in a more like humanistic way than just the overall ethereal nature of your experience. That's fucking cool. And also like, we also kind of undersell the value and power of radio today and its significance and how much influence it really fucking has, right? So with that, you're kind of like reminding us
social media didn't exist before. That's how everything got out,
And so I think just even reminding us of the significance in the history, and I think it's important for us to know what a Stretch and Bobbito is. I mean, basically what you're describing is these guys effectively broke a lot of people, but the biggest knowledge nugget you brought there is they gave a chance to the kids. And I'm seeing that people who succeed in life are very youth-centric. There's a lot of youth efforts involved in what they do, and those people have a longevity. And so the fact that you dropped that right there, and we're talking about it today, that's huge, man. That's a huge knowledge nugget you just squeezed out of there.
Bro, Bobbito was playing Company Flow records when LP was 18, 19 years old, right? LP one of my big homies in this shit, right? So he was playing like 8 Steps to Perfection, Juvenile Techniques,
In a better poker face.
before they was even on Raucous. You know what I mean? Firing With You Burn Slow. Look at LP now, bro. Run the Jewels is still one of the. He after
Run
that
the Jewels is
Def Jux. Put out A$AP Rock, put out Cannibal Ox, put out his own shit, Fantastic Damage, put out multiple classics with that, and then now he reinvented himself with Killer Mike as Run the Jewels, man. Like
LP
that lineage is crazy, bro.
He's one of my favorite people. In my opinion, RTJ4 was album of the year last year. Like they're literally my favorite act right now in terms of music.
That's still true.
You see how that connects?
Yeah, man.
You didn't even know who Stretch and Bobbito. You didn't even know the lineage of Stretch and Bobbito. Stretch and Bobbito was the reason that LP got on. Like, not saying that he wouldn't have got on without Bobbito and all of that, but
of course.
And LP is still one of the strongest acts out in music today. One of the biggest groups in indie music. Period. That's just crazy.
That's so cool. Like, that's why I'm so grateful that you're here talking to me about this stuff, because I'm not the only one sitting here tripping. Other people are in the comments going, wow, the whole way through this. I promise. You fucking tripping out a lot of people in a positive way. Thank you for sharing that. But
I'm so glad there are comments on the
I was
fucking
going to tell
screen.
you, Pen,
oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
don't forget to, like, explain things all the way through. You know what I mean?
All
Like,
right.
Pumpkinhead. Like, feel free, you know what I mean? Educate on each name, because not everybody. We know
We
Right.
know, but
That's what
everybody
you here
else.
for. You here to
No, we
drop
got
the
this.
extra so free
But there's
throw
still
because I
one.
forget.
We got one more really big question that never got answered in that explanation. We got context for
Oh,
the
yeah.
question. What's a stretch and a Bambito kid? We still didn't answer what those were.
Okay. Now, what I say by that is that was what raised me into, what molded me into the hip hop that I've grown to, that I've performed, that I've done. That's pretty much molded my hip hop persona. Like, not persona, but I mean that's pretty much like not the nucleus, but a large amount. Like, so that's what molded us. That era. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me personally, that's what made me want to rhyme like that. I wanted to get on Barbito because that's what I heard in school. You know what I'm saying? So when I would, like, honestly, when I was able to do that, I was like, you know what I mean? Like, that was literally all I wanted to do. That I didn't have any aspiration. Let me drop a record. Let me drop a single. Let me go on tour. Like, all that shit came later, bro. It was like, yo, let me go on Barbito and murk this shit, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was able to do that with Lord Sid and all that, and that was pretty much my goal. Like, that's wild. Yeah, I had such lofty goals and visions. You know what I'm saying?
No, but it's good to have lofty goals and visions.
But that's what I mean. I was a Barbito, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like that. A lot of people overlook a lot of those artists don't get mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the big ones get mentioned. Like I said, the Nas's and the Jay-Z's and Big L's, they always get mentioned. Wu-Tang and shit. Like, they legends. I mean, no disrespect, but they get mentioned everywhere. So who fucking cares? You know what I'm saying? But
yes.
like Bob, nah, that's no disrespect.
No,
you know
it's
what I
not.
mean?
It's
Like,
facts.
yeah, the niggas get mentioned everywhere. Like, all right, whatever. Like, let's move on, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was for indie hip hop. You know what I'm saying? The whole psychological records, the whole Necro and everybody spawned from that. You know what I'm saying? Nonfiction spawned from that. You know what I mean? Like I said, natural elements. The producer, the Charlemagne, came from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Curious. MF Doom came from that. MF Doom came from Barbito, bro.
That's crazy. Yo, I'm
Clarify the Charlemagne name,
No, I'm telling you.
because you can't say Charlemagne. Everybody in the world's gonna think you talking about Charlemagne the God.
So I want to
That's why I
just
said
co-sign what
Charlemagne.
Flacco
That's why I
said.
the producer.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Not Charlemagne the God from.
Even when you
that's-
said
that's-
that, I still thought Charlemagne the God. Even though you said the producer, I didn't even know there was another Charlemagne.
There was there's a producer who's been around for years and years, way before Charlemagne the God. But he's a producer, so he's not vocal.
Who, by the way, worked with, wasn't he the one that was working with Bianca when he was working with Dipset and them or something like that? I think he was the one that was like taking Bianca and Mahogany with like the connections of all this. It goes to show you that it's a big hip hop tree, and the roots go so deep that it touches everybody's families.
Tell you one thing. I most certainly had no idea what a Stretch and Barbito kid at the end of that clip was. You're still muted. Yeah, no. I watched that clip now and I'm like, shit, I could just see it. I had no fucking idea what a Stretch or Barbito kid was when that was done, because I didn't know fucking anything until I watched that documentary after.
And you can feel free to like cam up and speak, yo. Ox, what's going on?
Yeah.
Goody. Yeah. Stretch and Bob is like now that you've seen the documentary, it's a little bit more like it hits closer, right? Like,
yeah, that whole clip made more sense. I was listening to that, and in the moment, I'm like watching my face, and I'm like, fuck, like I just have no idea what's going on. You can just see it all over my face. I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. I had no idea. Like, he's just naming people, and I'm like, these are some exciting people he's naming.
Yeah.
They all perform there.
Yeah. What's crazy is like, did we talk about that after we watched the documentary? You know, we should elaborate on what we're talking about, right? So like, yeah. I like the same way that I told Penn, like, we're like, you know, you're talking about something that the people don't know. The people don't know that we together as a family here on the EO Dub network we off air watched the Stretch and Bobbito documentary that kind of explained Stretch and Bobbito to Holden better than
It's on YouTube, Ismail. We just got a comment where it was. It's a YouTube video. So yeah, we watched it. I think it's Stretch who produced it, and it kind of walks through
the documentary. Yeah, it was on YouTube. It was on YouTube. You could rent it, because that's what I did. It's not like a free thing to watch. Like it costs $4.99, but it goes to them, and you know, like it's worth it. Like that's like when he directed it, produced it, you know, like he's getting a bulk of that money back. I'd rather him get that money than to just like, you know, bootleg it.
No, that's fair. I was just saying that's where I saw it was. I didn't think about the free or not nature of it in that moment. But yeah, that's worth $5 just for the knowledge and context. There's a lot of shit that like if you really aren't from New York and you don't have that inherent understanding because you were like following it forever, I feel like it explains a lot of how things worked back then just through the radio, which is something that was always been.
Yo, props to the ones that came before. Sorry to cut you off, but Red Alert, Marley Marl, Chuck Chill Out, they were rocking for years before these guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right. But you know, it provided a different era, and they provided a different context that I don't think that those guys necessarily
definitely like but they did get a lot of people signed, and both of them had their own team.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think that New York radio, right, period, like has always like throughout all the years leading up until like the late 90s, like the radio people really got people on, you know. But you're right, like they definitely did it first. They definitely
see most of you guys are like Stretch and Bobbito era. By that time in hip hop, I was a big fan, but I wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to hear the radio show every week. But I knew younger kids that would sift through it and tape out the shit that they liked, and I'd get the dope shit from them, like FT and Artifacts, and I found that from that, you know.
Yeah.
Big L.
Yeah. Big L. Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's just still like, regardless of the era, it's more like to me fascinating, like at a workflow front, right? Like, I'm in high school in the 2000s, so by then I'm in the Napster era. I'm part of that whole wave of things, and ringtone rap and everything that came with all of those things is kind of my formative years of stuff. So I didn't really grow up in a time where the radio was breaking stuff so much as the internet was breaking stuff. And it's just interesting to see how not only just like the contrast between mainstream radio and underground radio was another whole side angle of it that nobody really talked about since. I think I haven't talked about it much, but I thought a lot about it. This underground radio scene and the power of it, and the community and the culture that surrounded that vibe. Like, because even with Jay Smooth, right? It was an underground radio station in a sense that he was first involved with, you know, if he was describing it. So it's like,
I mean, it's literally called the Underground Railroad.
Yeah. So it's like just a whole side of life that I never thought about until we watched that documentary, beyond just the impact of what a radio DJ can do for it, but then just the freestyles, right? Like that's a whole other side too. Like nobody really thinks about how many of these live freestyles. And then if everyone is waking up to watch this in the middle of the night and everybody's just accustomed to hearing fresh freestyles and things on the radio, it's a whole different experience than say, yo, that music video drop, let's cop that album.
Yeah, absolutely. So and you know what? What Damien's talking about that like I wasn't thinking about is the fact that, you know what, like ideally, because like I'm looking at those names that he named, right? And they were like on mainstream radio stations. These were radio stations.
That's what I was gonna say. Bobbito was on college.
But
really,
you know
pushed
what?
The culture.
But you know what? Like, but regardless of that, Damien, you know what? You're still right in the essence of the fact that, you know what? They were still underground radio on those mainstream stations.
Right.
What they did was essentially underground radio on the mainstream station.
It had a bigger reach.
they had the mix show, you know, like they had the one like
it started at 9 and ended at 12.
Yeah, you know, and so essentially it provided the same exact type of, and it was the same exact energy, you know, it's that same.
Dude, that was the only thing I had to look forward to as a kid, man, because every week it was a new style and a new record came out that you never heard a style like before. It was fucking like, it's a wet dream.
That's real cool, though. I mean, that's it.
Every week you could tell how the scratches progressed. You could tell which DJ was in front. And then all of a sudden, Jazzy Jeff came out and just everybody, he was 2 years ahead of everybody. Everybody had to catch up.
We just heard that same exact
that's facts.
Saying, right? Who was it that was on the show just explaining the fact that like when Run DMC, right?
Oh my God, they changed it.
Like the mood shifted in hip hop, right? And like that's it. Everything that wasn't Run DMC level, wasn't Sucker MC's level, was now old school.
You're
like,
damn right.
Like,
it was so mind blowing because it was rock and roll, and it appealed to so much more.
And then
just harder. See, white kids were listening to AC/DC, so for Run DMC to blow up, they needed to come with Rock Box and fucking Sucker MCs, you know.
And then a few years later, like now G-Rap and Rakim and Kane come in the game, and now everybody who's like not that level is like now they're old school, you know, like essentially Run DMC was kind of like old school at that point, even though they weren't, you know,
right?
But like those guys, like because they were introducing like
they were though, because you know their sound was over. They should have went. I think personally they should have dove deeper into their sound, because once they started trying to be like other people, you don't know those records, right? Where they sound like everybody else. Nobody heard. Like they put out records where they got with every producer and tried to sound like them, and
like when they shaved their heads and started wearing black.
I love Down with the King, but like
that's the only record. That's the album.
That was the only record.
That's the only good record. There's a few of them, but it for me, I was such a huge fan of Run DMC from the beginning. Like I know them, you know what I mean? I booked them and EO Dub opened, did an MC challenge, you know what I mean? So like it was heartbreaking for me. But for me, the last good album is Tougher Than Leather, and that's amazing. And that was slept on.
Right.
But go check them, man, because they are fucking. And it's very inspiring, the lyrics, especially DMC. He sounds like a motivational coach.
But like, you know, to get back to the thing about the Stretch and Bob, you know, like this was the that of our era that was growing up and essentially gonna be the guys that were following those guys on that, you know?
Yeah.
Like
one thing I'd like to mention about that though is like with the radio stations is with Red Alert and Marley Marl, like kids would be out. It was on Friday night and Saturday night. So you'd be out driving around during that time if you had a car. You'd be listening to that. With Stretch and Bobbito, you had to really know about it, stay up and find that station that all the way at the end of the dial.
Yeah, and have a really powerful
exactly
receiver.
You were a dedicated fan.
No, yeah. I would love to say something quickly about the eras.
Absolutely.
And you know, overall, like we're talking about like the Stretch and Bobbito era and the eras that preceded it and the eras that came after it. When I was introduced to EOW in 2003, I walked in the room and looked around and was like, yo, I have that guy's record. I have that guy's record. Damn, I'm a big fan of that dude. And then by the end of the night was like, forget all these people I knew about. There's people in this room that I've never heard of that are like inspiring to me to get my shit up, right? And I left. I remember driving home after the first few times. I don't know the first time I had this thought, but I was like, yo, this is my era's Stretch and Bobbito, this thing, EOW, you know, and I want to be a part of it, and I'm going to be a part of it. And, you know, 20 years later, here I am. I think that, you know, being around and involved with EOW is a personal want, and your experience there is going to be about your dedication, but it's really an open door to anybody who has the inspired, you know, feedback and feeling about the power of the dub. And, you know, coming off what we just watched, this Poison Pen segment, when we talk about eras, like Penn is the one person who has been super involved throughout every single era of the dub. Like he'll probably tell you he was at the first time that it ever happened, the night that Zoo was describing. You know, he was there the night that I came for the first time 3 years later. He was there in 2010 when Zoo, Vice, and Pro decided to pass the reins to Jesse and other hosts. He was there hosting MC challenges well into that era when we moved from the Pyramid and went to another club. And then still today, you know, Penn is still here. He is literally the one person that has been involved with EOW throughout every era that's not a founder or like a very, you know, integral member of the clique, right? Where Penn is definitely internal fam, but just to say like he's the mayor of Los Ave. He's, you know, the king. He's the king of this. He's, you know, he's the leader of that. You know, he wears so many hats, but he is definitely, you know, what we like to call him is the godfather of the dub. And like, you know, not the founder of the dub, but the godfather of the dub. Like, who's a godfather? Godfather is somebody that you would entrust your child to if you passed away.
Yep.
Penn is the godfather.
That's cool. That's great insight.
Facts. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. And absolute facts. Like Penn is the godfather. For real. You really can't trust him with anything and everything, you know? He's just that guy. And like he said, he has all those titles. Like he's like the mayor of Nostrin, you know, Grind Time East Coast president, Team Hami leader, like just so many titles.
He's a great dude.
Great
He's
man.
A good friend.
Great man. Great man. I can't say enough about all the people that like we've had on, you know, like these are all people that like I appreciate and respect so much. Like, you know, these are good people. It makes me feel better about myself to know that these are people that I can call friend, you know, like, so, and they teach me so much and like have such a rich history. And it's just like, I always felt like, yo, these stories should be out there. Like people should know these people. Like, I think they're really cool guys. And I think that if other people got to know them, they'd also think the same. Like, yo, these are really cool guys, you know? Stand-up individuals that like have character and integrity. So yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't know if we have more on this clip, but that was really cool. Yo,
I figured
there's actually like a good vibe, you know. I think it's like it's fun. This is like cool.
Yeah, we looking at the work. I think that Penn mentioned, I know Penn mentioned Aesop Rock in his clip. So I figured we'd go back to the Nunzio clip that he shared his experience about working with Aesop Rock.
Insane. I just have to like I want to keep talking about this timeline, but you said Aesop Rock, and you gotta understand, like that to me is like the geekiest shit ever. Like, and just on the other end, Aesop Rock's last album is my best performing organic video that people cared about because people like fucking love Aesop Rock. All right, so I don't know how popular he is everywhere, but I want to hear everything you can tell me about working with that guy because that guy is fucking something else. Okay.
He's okay. So there's only one person that I would put above him as far as writing goes, and as far as quickly and then delivering it like excellently. You know what I'm saying? Because his wordplay is bananas, and that's Jean Grey. Jean Grey is the only other person I've had in the studio that could just write some shit out, and then when she spit it, you be like, "How the fuck you just write that?" Like, nah, you had some ideas. Like, there was like some notes on the paper or something. She'd be like, nah, I just wrote it. Like, be like, what the fuck? He's one of those. You know what I'm saying? Like, wordplay, phenomenal. And you know, it's I don't want to call it nerd rap, but it's intelligent rap. Like
It is nerd rap.
It is
you
nerd
don't know
that
shit, you're not gonna understand what the fuck he's telling you. You know what I mean?
You can
can't
know
be a
shit
dummy.
and nobody knows what the fuck. The Aesop Rock fan base is a bunch of people divided on what the fuck he means. And as an album reviewer,
Yo,
I get like fearful. I have to add prefaces like, yo, listen, guys, listen. I know I don't know.
It's true.
I'm just guessing. And then people tell me in the comments and literally nobody agrees. I'm like, it's nuts. So like, it's a fair assessment.
because, and that's on
Yes.
purpose.
Speaking of, I mean, I'm going nerd rap, but I'm also pivoting into white guy rap. Do y'all fuck with this artist named Cage?
Cage.
Are you guys in Quebec aware of Cage?
So I don't, because like I'm on
Mhm.
basically spent 4 years catching up on culture, but most people I believe fuck with him who care about underground. Anybody that cares about underground cares about him and is quick to throw him in the Eminem chat like fucking fast. Like they just instantly brought together as names, saying Eminem stole it from Cage. Like that's a stock sentence in my life. I've heard
Oh,
it.
wow,
I've heard
okay.
it like 500 times. No lie. So
There is, I guess, like a shock rap factor to Cage that I could see people aligning with Eminem. But what's interesting is a lot of Cage's shit is just real stories from being fucked up in a mental institution. He's telling ill stories. But early Cage shit is, I was heavy. I'm a super big fan. And he had a
The song Agent Orange.
The Clockwork Orange, yeah. The
Agent
Clockwork
Orange, yeah. The Necrobeat.
that record is bananas. I mean, anywhere to start with Cage is a record.
That record was big in New York City's underground. I got it off of Stretch and Bobbito one night, and I took it to my boy who at high school who like just, you know, same as me, was into underground shit, and like we were like blown away. Like, what? It was the brain was infected by devils.
Yeah.
Little thing that was just like, what?
People said his brain was infected by devils.
man.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
But yo, I gotta go back to Aesop Rock because I'm really curious about what it's like to work with him beyond just his quick writing.
It's
ability.
great, dude. Like, this is what I mean. Like I said, you know, you treat people like they're regular people, and they will be regular people around you. He's a fucking great dude. Like, and he's a phenomenal talent. And that's what made it really good for me was I wasn't really up on him when he came to the studio and I recorded him.
Which
what I'm
tracks
saying?
did
So
you do?
Huh?
Which tracks?
Oh, I
did you-
couldn't even tell you, dude. I've done so much recordings and stuff. Like, naming tracks is like out the question.
Okay.
You're on a track with him, none, no?
Are you on
Huh?
are you on a track?
You're on a track
Oh
with
no,
him.
no. I'm not on the
You're
track.
not?
There
But
was a lot
Carnage-
of Def Juke stuff that came through my doors
But
as
like,
the dojo.
that's fair.
Oh, I thought you were on a track. I thought that's what Carnage was saying the other day.
Oh no,
Okay.
I mean,
No.
you know, we got along, and the stuff he did, I just was like, damn, dude, like I'm bugging that I haven't copped your freaking records. Like, I'm fucking up. Like, you
But
know what I'm
this is like-
saying?
This is
It was like a realization for me.
Yeah. So that ended while I was mid yawn. My bad, everyone. And Flacco is still muted. That was fun. I remember that. That was a good moment. I don't know what to say about it except that Nunzio's humble and Aesop Rock is fun. Sometimes I just don't have insightful things to say.
I mean, you know, you asked him about Aesop Rock, you know, he had a pretty cool story, right? And he shared it.
I like the fact that he validated that Aesop Rock writes shit fast and delivers it fast, because that is interesting compared to the idea of him just taking 6 months to perfect the song, you know, like, nah, he just sits there, you know, like that. That's the impression I got, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then as Ismail goes, I don't know why this fact is not more known. So like, it's a cool fact. Like his brain is weird in the best possible way. I love his music. Like he's just it's so weird. And I don't know.
Aesop Rock?
Yeah. He's got like this Like he don't give a fuck what people think about him attitude, and he just writes about what he knows, and what he knows is his life, and his life is unlike most of our lives.
Work.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that one. We can go on a nice clip, or if anyone else wants to throw it on this topic.
I think your interest in A$AP Rock is, it piques my interest to say that, he put out a bunch of really good music that was like content based, and his flow and delivery and song structure and stuff is kind of out of the box, I think, on purpose, and it isn't for everyone. But if you're really a hip hop head, you know, like he's got a really high level of writing talent, and his ability to put a song together that's listenable is up there, right? I think, unfortunately for him, in my opinion, like he was obscure and underground and like a fan favorite of those that knew him. And as soon as A$AP Rocky came out, and it was like, what's going on here? Like, who's this? Like, there's a guy who's popular that has like this similar name. Like, I'm not sure who they're talking about. I never heard of that guy. This guy's being promoted all over in the same time that social media was popping. It's like A$AP Rocky went, and you stopped ever hearing anything about A$AP Rock. You know what I mean? I don't know if that trailed off with his productivity or not, but I always felt like, damn, that's the okie doke. Like somebody who's a little bit younger, a little bit more popular, a little bit into cooler stuff, fashion, and, hangs out with Rihanna. Like, now it's pretty much, you're not the one with the, like somebody took your name and they're doing bigger things with it. You know what I mean?
You know what? For a long time, I was absolutely confused between the two of them, but at least A$AP Rock is doing pretty great these days. Like he's had a good run of like 3-4 solid years of proper albums. The fans is mad loyal. He's absolutely eating off of what he does, and life is probably decent for him. From what I understand, he's super like live in the cabin in the woods in nature. Fuck everybody. I don't need anybody. I like my cat type guy. And I like that about him because he's just unapologetically that, like unapologetically so.
Yeah.
And he makes some interesting shit.
I mean,
like
all those guys are super successful, right? Like all those, super successful.
Speaking of unapologetically, Vanguard, we see you trying to floss in front of the fairy painting with that gold trim frame and everything. Van Dingo.
It's a nice back.
Dingo man.
Not a bad
Yo. All right, we're gonna go to the next clip.
Before we get into like back into your story with the whole end of the week, you did have a couple of more, bad boy stories you wanted to share with the people. So I feel like that would be a great place to start.
That is a good place to start holding of the past.
The first one I want to do is the Godzilla soundtrack one, right?
Like the Kashmir song?
No. The was it? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's the
yes,
it's the fucking Led Zeppelin track.
Yes. Now, who's the drummer for Led Zeppelin?
I don't remember. I know I'm supposed to know it. I don't know it.
I know.
Jimmy Page.
There you go. Thank you. Jimmy
Go
Page.
Flacco.
Yo, met him in the studio during the filming when they were making the song. So I just want to tell you how crazy it was to do that song. Now, I actually opted out on it. They asked me to assist on it. I was like, nah, I'd rather engineer other stuff. Like, play Jimmy Lee to be the assistant. And he was stuck on it for like a month and a half, like almost every day going in there. And I remember one day bumping into him and being like, yo, how's that going? He's like, how's it going? And he shows me a DAT, right? And it has a list of all the versions on it. And yo, it was on like 200 mix, 218 version 3-A, and then it would have like a little thing in parentheses, like bell in the middle of a song down lower. So like, yo, they literally went through a massive amount. This is like the Michael Jackson thing, because Michael Jackson would do like 120 tracks just on the music, but on one track would be the triangle that only comes in once 10 seconds into the song, but you got to mix that by itself and make sure it's right and mixed right into the song. So I see where Puff was going with it, but I was so glad I opted out because it was crazy. But you know, when Jimmy Page came in, it was to redo the drums on the song, and he was gonna play it live. So I'm like, oh, I gotta see this. You know what I mean? Like, so I go into the room, and they're like, could you help us set everything up? I'm like, oh, bet. And yo, don't lie, dude. They put the drum set all the way to the back of the studio. This is just like a great trick, you know what I mean, for anybody that's recording live drums. So he puts the kick down, right? And they build like a box over the kick. And then it goes straight out all the way to the front of the studio. And they draped it like with the packing blankets. So they created this whole contraption, and then they put a microphone like every, I'm gonna say 3 feet all the way to the end, so that when he's doing the kick, you would have the hard kick in the front, but then it'd be a little softer in the middle, real soft at the very end. You know what I mean? But now you had different versions of the kick that you can mix together to create mood. So you know how you would, a person would hit the kick and then just tap it lightly so it's a little bit lighter. Instead of having to do that, you could just go to the third microphone down the line and be like, that's the soft kick of the version of the kick. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I was amazed by it when I saw it, and I was like, yo, these dudes are geniuses. Like, and that's really, I think that's some old school like way to go about it. You know what I'm saying? But just to learn that trick alone, I was like, this is great. And so I just wanted to mention that one and the extensiveness of making a song like that. Like Puff put a lot into it. You know what I mean? He was actually on tour at the time, and Sony gave him their private jet, and he would literally go on this tour, perform, fly back to the studio just to listen to whatever version it was, or if anything got added, give his little feedback, go hang out, get back on the plane, go to wherever the next stop was, get ready to perform again. So
yo, that is a crazy ethic. Like, yo, it makes sense that Puff is doing as well as he's doing today. Hearing like that kind of level of dedication to that track and whatnot, especially because it's a big opportunity to be in the Godzilla. But yo, thanks for starting us off with that heavy knowledge nugget. The one thing I know about bands is that drums is the most expensive thing in the world, and it's what really adds all the cost to recording. So just sharing that is such a cool fucking tidbit to start us off. So thank you for that, man. I appreciate it a lot. You still with us? It froze up again.
Yeah, we good. It's back. I'm gonna
cool.
just use my hotspot now because the internet is getting crazy over here.
No worries. We got you. So yeah, what's the other stories that you wanted to share about Bad Boy? I think.
Okay, so all right, so you want to hear Lox and New Edition or DMX?
Both, but whichever. Let's start with Lox.
I'm just saying one first. I'm gonna tell both.
So I'm the kind of guy that likes to save the best for last, and DMX is like I'm a 12-year-old white boy when he pops. So like this shit is
all right, cool.
jam.
So we'll start with Lox. So New Edition is coming in to do their song. Puff is had just gotten, I think, 3 songs to do on their new album, and it was like the reunion one. So Johnny Gill and Ralph Tresvant were both on it, and the Lox come in, and they're dumb excited, yo. And they sit me down, and they're like, "Listen, you're gonna record their rhymes on the rhyming piece of this song on the New Edition joint." So I'm like, oh snap, like y'all are rhyming on the New Edition shit. They was dumb hyped. So it's Styles and Jadakiss in there, and they're doing one of their back and forth type rhyme joints, writing it together. So I remember like them being, first of all, stupid excited, and then it's like they started it off with LO expertise, please, you ain't got no rhymes like these. And it's like, yo, it was hot. I was like, oh snap, this is gonna be dope. So I go and I record them doing it. Then it's like maybe a half hour after we record it, we cycling the thing, man. Like just keep listening to it. They excited. And then New Edition shows up. So they walk in the room, introduce themselves to everybody. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. Then one of them turns to Jada and Styles and is like, yo, could you write down the rhymes for us? And he was like, what? He was like, yo, and I was like, then I realized like, oh snap, I don't think this song is meant for them to rhyme on it. It's probably you've been writing for them to actually spit the rhymes. And I was like, oh snap. So I'm like, no, they don't write it down. I was like, that's my job. You know what I mean? Like, because I didn't want to add insult to injury. I was like, yo, I got it. I'll write it out for y'all, etc. Puff walks in. He's like, yo, that LOX expertise, you got to change that to NE expertise, like for New Edition. You know what I mean? And it was like, okay, bet. And it's like they was hurt, dude. Like we did the whole session. They came in, they respit everything, and then left. And then these two dudes are sitting in the chairs like, yo, ain't nobody gonna believe that we wrote this shit, you know what I mean, and got it on the album and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put it on a CD for you. Like I'm gonna burn it with your vocals on it so that people know that you wrote that shit. And I'll give you a cassette too. But like, don't tell nobody, bro. Like, but I'm gonna look you out. Yo, they was dumb happy. Like, yo, thank you. Like, yeah, now niggas in the hood ain't gonna be like, I ain't write this shit. They gonna know. I was like, word, like I got you. You know what I mean? But I always found that one interesting because on the back end, they got like 15 grand for writing it. You know what I'm saying? As a check. So I was like, that's not bad, dude. Like, I'm with that. I'll write a 16 for anybody for 15 grand.
I'll write a
Like,
16 for anybody for 5
versions?
grand. I'll be
got
real with
son.
you.
Got you. You know what I mean? So I always like that one.
That's
now
incredible.
we get to DMX. So just so you know, DMX, great artist, but I wasn't a fan at the very beginning. You know what I mean? So they're doing 24 Hours to Live. This is the Black Rob song. You know what I mean? Everybody's on it. Mace, The Lox. It's a freaking incredible song. DMX is the one that ends it off. So they're all in the room with me cycling the beat. You know what I mean? And they're writing to it. Another engineer comes in to record everybody. So we in the room, and this is a long process because there's so many people on it. But I remember them finishing it, and Puff walks in. So Puff is like, yo, let me hear the song. Boom, we start playing it, and I love that song. So everybody's verse is going, boom, I'm bopping my head all hard, and then it gets to DMX's part. I didn't like DMX's part. I always was like, yo, he seemed a little mad, angry, like a little overly aggressive, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't digging it. But it comes up and I stop bopping my head, like, okay, like, you know, it's all good. I'm not bopping as hard as I was, but I'm like, yeah, the beat is hot. So we go through it, the song ends, and Puff is looking at me the whole time. It stops, and then he goes, looks around the room, and he goes, Rashid. I was like, yeah? He was like, what do you think of that last verse? I was like, oh, like, you're an asshole. Like, yeah, I don't like it, but I'm gonna be honest with him. He knows how I do. So I was like, yeah, I didn't really like it. And he was like, yo, I need you to write that over. And then he walks out the room. So now, you know, everybody in the room is like, yo, none, what the fuck, dude? Like, blah, blah, blah. And yo, give it to DMX. This is why I always will have love for him. He's like, yo, stop. Everybody stop. I'll just write it over. It's okay. Like, I got it. And he started writing another one. And that's the one that made it to the record. But I always looked at it as like a turning point because that's when he was unsigned at that time. So they're trying to convince Puff that, yo, you should sign this dude. Like, he's the one out of all of us. Rough Riders, this is the one. You know what I mean? And Puff, like myself, wasn't really digging the whole, being aggressive and shit on tracks. So me agreeing with him, I think saved him from even thinking of signing him. At that point, I think that shit got dropped to the wayside. So I always said, like, if I wouldn't have said that, maybe he would have ended up signing him, and that would have totally ruined DMX's career because he don't even like him like that. You understand what I'm saying? But instead, he ended up on Def Jam, made a whole bunch of hits, and the shit is amazing. But I do want to add this as a part of the story. So the time that I actually really appreciated DMX was I was working for Dream Hire, and there's this dude named Dax, and he works at Hammerstein Ballroom. So he was doing what was supposed to be his last performance at Hammerstein. So me and my buddy Sinclair was like, yo, we gotta go. I think Calabras was with us too. And we're like, my man Dax is like, yo, it's amazing here. Like, you ain't gotta pay for no tickets. I'ma sneak you up into the spot. You know what I'm saying? And we was like, bet. And yo, no lie, yo. We go inside of this building and we're like totally on the other side. My man literally opens up a door that like maybe I could fit through, like going straight in. But really, you had to turn to the side to really maneuver. And yo, it's like a trick door, but yo, we went through, opens up, we go through, open up the door. We right by the VIP bar upstairs. You know what I'm saying? You just walk out of the room and it's in the middle of the concert and all this. But that's where I gained my appreciation for him and his music. I already liked a few songs he had, but seeing him perform live, I was like, yo, I'm looking for the dude doing the ad-libs. Like, yo, where's the other nigga with the mic? Like, what's going on? And Sinclair's like, yo, that's fucking DMX. He's doing the ad-libs while he's rhyming. I was like, yo, that's impossible. But then I'm looking and I'm like, yo, this nigga's right. Like, yo, that's amazing to me, yo. And I know, like, when you listen, because I've done this before, you'll have trouble with a rhyme, but once you put it down and you hear it, you're, like, able to execute it because you've heard yourself doing it. And I think that's what he was one of his skills, because he definitely was hitting all the ad-libs, kept rhyming, and you could understand every word he was saying. And I was like, damn, I'm fucking up. Like, this dude's a mad professional, and I'm sitting here like, he's okay. You know what I mean? So I had to reestablish it. I definitely revisited some albums and gained my appreciation for DMX.
It was like, I may not have misread this, but I'm pretty sure I saw that DMX is doing a collab album with Bono.
No, Bono's on his album.
Is that what it is? Bono's just doing a track on it? What's up, Dama?
What's up? What's good, bro?
What's goody, sis? How you?
I'm chilling at the crib.
Yo, is that Craig? Is he on? Like, I've been feeling like he's like it's like a video thing that just goes on a loop.
Nope, he out there. He in the car. What's up, baby?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just driving.
I'm just mad you sit.
Craig on a loop.
I'm just mad you sitting on the porch with a tank top right now.
Yeah, man. We back to this fucking Texas weather. Thank God.
Well deserved.
I didn't come out here to freeze.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
That boy Craig dressed for the Ice Age.
For real.
Word, y'all look like you're on separate continents.
Yeah.
I just got good AC, so I got it on blast.
Yeah, that was fun.
Icicles dripping out his nose and shit.
Why you always make it so awkward, Damien? Jesus.
My style, that's my whole steez, B, you know. Come on. You got to get to know it. You don't know that yet?
Like, it's my whole steez. I know that.
That's that punk rock shit officially.
All right. I I don't know what to say in the moment. I
Yo,
got derailed there.
Nunzio's
is amazing.
Nunzio's a great storyteller, and he's got wild, great stories from back in the days, yo. Like from recording at Daddy's house for Bad Boy Records. Like, come on, dude. He was the guy that made it that DMX had to redo his verse. You don't even know what DMX's real verse sounded like. Think about that.
That's fair. I just think it's cool that he's just touched so much history, and he's so humble about it.
Wow,
like,
humble.
He's just cool. Like, I don't know. Some people, I feel like this cool energy off of them. Like, just it's the way he talks about all the stories. Like, as much as he knows they're significant, it's like there's still just people doing things, and it's like a little reminder that everybody's just got a story, you know. And I think that's what's really cool about it. And yeah.
I wanted to go back and talk about what you said about the drums. I never even thought of it. It's very important to me. You said like drums, they spend the most money on. I never even thought to think about that. And the sad part of it is most drummers never get any, like 99.9% of drummers never get any credit for their work.
That's probably fair, eh?
Publishing.
But yeah, I just like, because I talked to a lot of bands about recording costs back in the day, and they were like, yeah, when you get to drums, it's like, it takes forever because there's so many things that have to get recorded and everything has to be hit properly. And if you fuck up takes, you got to redo it.
Yeah,
all.
true.
And then they often make, because usually it's guitarist, bassist, and vocalist, right? It's usually not the drummer telling me this. They will say, and they're never on rhythm, so they have to redo it. So like, you know, so like they basically kind of say the drummers are usually not as prepared as they should be, therefore it escalates costs. So maybe that's part of the story. But just the actual cost of recording drums seems to be like half the budget of recording, not necessarily engineering, but the recording angle of it, from what I've been told, because I've never done it.
Yeah, it's a mess for an engineer. You got, like, you know, think about it. You got to put all these mics everywhere around the drums and try and isolate stuff.
And then that trick Nunzio said was cool because it was like a hack for anybody that like was there. I could picture what he was saying. But now imagine that you don't have that trick, and now you actually have to go and capture the different pressure points of a drum. Like your drums are like a lot of different things. And especially if you have like a complicated drum set with like 56 individual things you're hitting throughout a track, you know?
It's easier with the MPC. Because I do the same thing, basically, you know? But it's a lot more compact.
But yeah, that's what I know about drum recording, which is, again, not something I've done, just in case people want to contradict it. But no one ever has. No, everyone has ever been like, you're wrong. So I assume there's some truth in this. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about those clips. Or I don't remember the first two stories anymore. I'm just stuck on the DMX one.
DMX, baby.
Oh, yeah. Or just the recording with all the fucking tapes, or being on take 270 or edit 217-B. Like that's a lot of work. That is so much like editing that would have gone. And then that was like the old like wave file world, right? Where it was all the real, I don't know. I think about that sometimes, and it's just like, we are so grateful, or we should be more grateful today, I think, about the simplicity of it. But then I think about, I know it's not live yet, but the Jay Smooth one where he's like, yeah, but with that simplicity comes, and there's like trade-offs to it. And so it's just like, it's cool stuff to think about for like the sake of mental gymnastics. I don't know if anyone has other things to say on this one, or if you want to do another clip, or
let me know. I'm ready to go with another clip, son.
All right, let's do that then. So I watched you guys do your thing, and we were going, I don't know if Immortal Technique won that personally. We were both going, you know, I think Iron Solomon kind of took that on some creative, like, you fucking clearly spun the moment type shit. We just wanted to know who you think won that moment, if you don't mind chiming in.
Yeah, I mean, that story is wild, like, because EOW didn't do battles, you know what I mean? It was like their whole thing was like, we don't have to go against each other to prove our MC skills. it was the MC Challenge, and at the time, nobody knew who I was really. Like I had been fighting for recognition within EOW and trying to get a higher spot on the list for the open mic and get into the MC Challenge. And Immortal Technique was already, he'd already won Rocksteady battle and gone, and he won bragging rights, and I think he was already really selling records and had like the beginnings of a career, and he was known, he was somebody. And I think he was sort of the one who was supposed to win the MC Challenge. It was like,
right,
okay, we got this big name in here, he should really win it, you know what I mean? But the way the MC Challenge is judged, it's kind of anybody's game, which is part of what's ill about the challenge. And I think that, I won the challenge, and he was pissed. He didn't agree with those results. And so he like took the mic and was just like, yo, fuck that. Like anybody who like, he got the crowd on his side, which is like some real hip hop shit to do. It's like MC, move the crowd, like master of ceremonies, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, yo, anybody who thinks I won, make some noise. And like, he's Immortal Technique. The energy is there. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who thought he won also, you know what I'm saying? And so the crowd goes crazy, and he's like, yo, anybody who wants to see me like battle whoever says I didn't win, make some noise. And I think that Zoo and Vice and Pro, it was just the energy in the room was like, yo, we have to let this happen. You know what I mean? But they weren't happy about it because that's not their thing. They really are not. It's not about the battles for them. You know what I mean? And so it was a reluctant, like, yo, this could happen. And I think again, Tech was thrown off because he expected that he felt like he had won. I'm this little fucking white kid with glasses, you know what I mean? And I think he just was like, this is going to be a cakewalk. Like, we have to battle. And I thought I was going to lose too, because this is before I really was battling like that. It was like, I had done bragging rights a bunch of times, which was like a legendary battle in New York, but I never won. Like I got to the semifinals and then got knocked off, and there hadn't been a bunch of battles in New York for a while. So, I had these bars that were like, you would always have like a punchline here or there that you could like mix in. So I had one or two lines that I like hadn't gotten to use in a battle. And I think just because he's like, who the fuck is this kid? I'm gonna just mop the floor with him. And I, in my head, was like, fuck, like, this is gonna be embarrassing. Like, he's gonna win, and I got first place, but now I'm gonna have to walk away with second place here. And he was trying to get me to go first, and Zoo like put his foot down and was like, nah, like, he won on the card. We're letting this play out. You're going first, you know what I mean? And he went, and I think he wasn't in, peak battle form, because I'd seen him, tear through plenty people. And he just kind of, gave some bars and whatever, and it wasn't the best he could do. And then I think because the energy was behind him, and then the attention shifted to me again, like little white kid with glasses, like I benefit from that element of surprise. And so right away, when I like me just saying anything good, and then I had this line, only time you get 5 mics is in a gay orgy, which is like, 5 mics in the source. 5 mics in the source was like the rating system back in the day. Like the Source magazine was the hip hop Bible, and 5 mics was like a perfect album. So that was like a bar that I had that I was like, yo, like I never got to use this in a battle. And so everyone went crazy, and then the energy shifted, and it was behind me. You know what I mean? So that was kind of one of my introduction almost into the battle scene in a way, even though I had been around and been involved before. And again, shout to FYL, Fuck Your Life, because back in the day, Nems won bragging rights. I remember George Burns being in a bragging rights with the fucking football jersey and the bandana before we were friends, because this is like high school, 16, 17, 18 years old. I walked away with the win. But shout to Technique, man. I mean, he's a fucking legend, and he's, I think, in terms of underground, independent hip hop, is like one of the biggest like model success stories. And it was, it's an ill moment, and it was a crazy situation that it panned out that way. And it was, it was just dope to be in the challenge with him at that time too. You know what I mean?
And just to add a little bit to the idea of ownership, to tie it up, you can find that shit on Iron Solomon's YouTube channel.
Sir,
follow, subscribe, and do that, because here's the thing: it's very important to capture your history. That was fun. That was a good interview.
Iron Solomon's wild cool. It's the homie. Has Svengali Bros in the comment section. Know what I mean? Not actually Svengali Bros in the
That was my group too. Me and Vanguard were both in that group.
I shouted y'all out in the comments.
But thank you.
In the video. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course. Always, you know what I mean? We got to make sure everything is credited properly.
Right. Yeah, I just think that was a super interesting moment to just have on video. Like one of those weird things that you almost wouldn't believe would happen unless it got filmed. Like if you would have come up to me in YouTube,
wow, million%.
like 2000, and then it's just there, and just to see like Big Zoo then and them on stage doing like how they're hosting, how they're like in the moment reacting, reading the crowd, like I almost like it made me respect everybody involved more, like to see it in action a little bit, because I don't get to see all this like old timey end of the week moments with like visuals, right? Oftentimes it's just like I've heard songs, I've heard things, but I don't often get to see a lot of it. And I know there's probably footage out there, but I haven't like got to it, so to speak. So just to like see that, but with like names that connect with me, like I mean, Immortal Technique is one of those guys that really, up here at least, a lot of people knew. It was just really more impactful to like visualize the significance of it than it was for me, at least prior to like seeing that clip and hearing that moment.
It's so crazy too, because I never thought of it either, but I just figured it out right now that because of Immortal Technique's fame, it birthed Iron Solomon. We got to experience the battle rap of Iron Solomon because of that moment.
Yeah, Aaron definitely
got hits, I'm sure.
Aaron battles. He said, pretty much like whether or not he was battling prior to that, had battles before, of course he did. It wasn't like a thing that he was doing,
Right.
But it's like now Tech's the battle guy, you know what I mean? And at that point, right? And for Aaron to be able to beat him, even admittingly doubtful of himself, like how am I going to win? Like I can't win this. Like this not possible, right?
Right. Yeah.
And he goes ahead and does that. So that does become the catalyst for, and he is, out of the horse's mouth. Like
that was the universe right there because of the energies, obviously.
Yo, but the reason I came on Canada to speak is like, that shit was like the MC challenge that AM Boogie won, Solomon won. You know what I'm saying? Is the MC challenge that was the MC challenge of champions that I got the flyer from Mozzie because him and Technique came to do the showcase at an open mic in Jersey I was frequenting, and Mozzie got the flyer. And on one side of the flyer was his next show. And it was like, come to my next show. Yo, he's promoting, right? I'm like, all right, cool. I flipped the flyer over and it was his last show. And his last show was at the Knitting Factory for the EOW Challenge of Champions that year. You know what I'm saying? And the EOW Challenge of Champions that year with Iron Solomon was in it. It was that season. So like that thing that Aaron's describing, which is on video for people to watch, that was happening every single week at the Dub and continued to happen for years and years. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Like that is a more significant story because the names involved are Immortal Technique and Iron Solomon. But every single person that came through the Dub has their own like magic story. Like
no doubt. Plenty of them, I'm sure too. For me, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if I want to be corrected because I love the way I think of it now. My favorite battle with Iron Solomon on YouTube is the one with the suit and tie guy. But from my understanding, I think I remember Solomon telling me that he didn't know he was going to battle him beforehand. Am I right?
I'm pretty sure he said that actually in some point or another.
Right. But so if you watch that battle, knowing that, and you see you know what he's freestyling because he's coming with rebuttals and he's making it up about him on the spot. Yo, it's amazing the freestyles he came back with. Amazing. I love it.
A lot of his latest battles are really classic too. The one with Romnetti and the one with Disaster. Those shits is dope too.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely.
Disaster's battle with Iron was just, that was a lot of people, you know, was wondering, and because they consider Disaster so good, and Iron proved that like, nah, like he's back at like tip top shape, like take on anybody. I like his battle with Daylight. That one was the one that really like was fire.
Oh, and we were talking about when we went out to Detroit and he battled Avalanche. He demolished him. It's on YouTube. I don't know if you guys saw it, but yo, that was crazy. Like he had the whole fucking building flipping out. Some mad clever shit. When you get a second, go, if you haven't seen it, go watch that.
Right, so we'll check it.
Yeah, I just think it's cool that it provides a visual to the vibe, and makes you want to see more. It makes you want to be a part of that like energy of it. Just the whole like it's packed, like this like tension in the air almost. Like it's beautiful to watch. Like it, especially now that it's these times and that's not such a thing. It's really cool to see. Yeah, I don't have more insightful stuff to say.
Nah, but yo, Holden, for real, like big up, because what we're talking about is like the documentarian, right? The footage, the stuff that we can archive. Like those things are either in a hard drive or they're up on YouTube. And there's so much on YouTube that it might be a mountain to look through. But just to say that, what you're doing, where you're, doing it in an organized way and trying to put, episodes out that, there's substance there, but there's also like, you have a premise for the show and all this stuff, like great work and like cataloging what is the most interesting stories is something that someone should be doing. And the stories that you've been covering are ones that are not being told.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, for real.
Facts. Big up.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not the best with compliments either, like most people. It's just what it is. So yeah, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, dude, keep them coming. Come on, baby, hit me with them. Come on, look at my lips.
The next clip.
You said pun, right? And I'm not gonna lie,
yeah, big pun.
You snuck that in real quick, but like I'm not gonna miss you living with big pun. What? Living with was the word he chose to use, and I'm pretty sure he's very deliberate with his words. So, what is that like? You lived with big pun? Is that what you said?
Yeah, man. Yep. He took me in. Like a little rugrat from the streets and just saw something in me that I don't think he saw in anybody else. I got a chance, man. I got a chance to be with him during different moments of anybody else in the world. And tomorrow I'm supposed to be talking about it on Clubhouse. Today is my 21-year anniversary. 21 years ago, I called him and was saying, yo, I'm coming over. You know what I mean? Like, where the fuck are you? You've been gone. Like, he was down south. And he's like, yo, I'm here, but the house is being renovated. We're in the hotel. And he goes, but don't worry, I'll be back later. Like, you know what I mean? And he goes, oh shit, that's dope. I'll be back. That's your name from now on. And then he died the next day. So I'll be back since February 6, 2000. And so, just living with him and being like his little go for, and or being in the music videos and taking care of him, or I was able to be around these different moments because I was 15, and everyone around him was either super young or super grown-ass man. So he treated everybody different than he treated me. He treated me like a sponge that needed to soak up some game because he felt, he felt he was going to pass away. He felt he was going to die. So I was able to just be around like moments where he was frustrated with everyone, I mean, friends get frustrated with each other. So me saying Pun was frustrated with Joe or Cuban or whatever, that's no big thing. We all get frustrated with each other. But I was there because I had to take care of them, you know what I mean? Or hold the clothes or this and that. So I was able to listen to an artist that is on the rise, on fire, and all of his complaints and all of his worries and all that. I was able to soak that up and see that. So he loved me, until that day, until Rap City. And then he just loved me in a different way.
I don't know what that means. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah, Rap City. I don't know if some people know the story or not, but Rap City in the basement. Do you know what Rap City is? Being in Canada?
No, I have but let's just go with no.
Oh.
All right, Rap City. Rap City was a show that we had after school where they would show music videos. But there was also another element where there were different hosts that will go into the city and interview. Sammy, what's up? That in the interview, I love the way she wears her beanies. It's too much, Sammy. You're a walking emoji. I love it. And so, he goes, Rap City would interview rappers in their city. And they would go to the city and then kind of interview people. And Pun had a pool hall. And in Pun's pool hall, he had a pool hall slash, can you guys hear me, see me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear us?
He had a pool hall slash arcade that he built for the kids in the community in the Bronx. And it was arcade. He wasn't making much money from it. It was an arcade slash barbershop slash pool hall. And, the niggas hung out. It was right down the block from Steppins. And so Rap City came.
Shouts to Parkchester.
So Rap City, is everybody following this story? Because it's the most embarrassing story in my life.
No, we're following you. You're good.
I really don't want to tell that.
But you're doing wonderful. We really appreciate you.
Yeah. So then I'm there. I'm cleaning up. I was cleaning the basement and clean the hair and shit like that. And so then Pun calls me over. He goes, "Yo, stupid, come here." Right. And so I was walking over to him, and I could see it for the first time. A big camera. You know what I mean? Like this is not the camera we got on the block. You know what I mean? And I'm walking toward it. Like this, I know it. I could feel it. This is the first time I'm gonna be on TV. And I've never felt that I wasn't going to be on TV. You know what I mean? So me walking to it is like, I'm soaking it in. This is the first time. This is it. Just walking, and then every step I'm saying, just be honest, right? just be honest. That's all you gotta do is be honest.
You were telling yourself to be real, keep it real. You were like,
keep it real,
keep it real, bro. Keep it real. You don't do nothing
1,000.
else right now. Keep it real. This is your moment.
So then Joe Clear goes, "Yo, what's your name?" And I go, "Kidnapper," right? Because Pun used to call me Kidnapper. That was my rap name. And then he goes, "Who's your favorite rapper?" And I'm telling you, as clear as I'm standing here, I don't even think he finished the word R at the end of rapper. I don't think he breathed at all. I didn't breathe. When I immediately said, "Nas." Nas. Nas is the... Yo, Nas, like this, like not Nas. No, Nas.
Doesn't get boring.
Did you hear what he said? When he said, "I peep you frontin', I was in the Jeep, sunk in the seat, tinted with heat, beats bumping." And everybody looked at me like, "You fucking idiot. Why the fuck would you say Nas? The cameras are here for Pun do you have anything nice to say about fun? I was such a fan of Nas, bro. I had to keep it 1,000, bro. And so there was moments like that, you know. And then he later that
Thanks,
night
Vanguard.
wrote Brave in the Heart, which is one of those records where he kind of takes a jab and a shot at Nas. And I'm watching him write it, right? And he goes, brave in the heart, playing the part, futuristic rap, state of the art, taking these young cats past the start. First it was Nasty Nas, now watch me turn this apple into Macintosh. And I yelled like, no, what are you doing? Because I know if Nas was to ever battle Pun, it would have been good for Nas. Pun wanted to be Nas so bad. He wanted to be the thug poet, the street poet so bad that he was ready for all the smoke. And here's his little cousin, you know, giving Nas his flowers on, you know, on his camera time. He took that mad personally. So I was able to be around stories like that. That's how embedded I was. And I used to be the first one on stage. Like when they're about to go on stage, and before you hear doom 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 doom, I would run on stage with Big Pun Platinum t-shirts. So when people saw me, they saw the t-shirt, but they cheered for me. And he saw what that did to me, you know, and he let me go.
To be fair, they had every right to be really upset at you.
Every right.
Every right. And
my
you
life changes
understand
if I don't do some stupid shit like that. Do you know that, right? If he doesn't do that, if I don't do that, if I don't say Nas, and I don't get there's not that awkward silence, it never gets cut. So we get to see it right now where I go, Pun. And then Pun goes, dead in the middle of little did we know to be riddle the middleman. We would do that together, right there. Because that's what we used to do. But I was just too much of a fan, bro. Nas was everything.
Yo, that was an incredible story. I'll be back, and I'm so grateful that you chose to share it in this moment because it was both entertaining but a powerful educational lesson. Because I'm about those knowledge nuggets, so I know you teaching us, and I felt that teacher moment. The big teaching moment is understand. It's actually the first law of power or whatever. You know, never outshine the master. So in that moment, you effectively outshined the master because you put somebody else on a pedestal in a moment where you're supposed to put the man's up, and you just. In a very entertaining anecdote that like how'd you rap like 3 times? Like that was fucking fire. That is like you were like designing a YouTube clip almost. It was fucking so cool to watch your brain work as you put that story together in real time and like just fucking make it happen like that. That is impressive.
Switch.
Yo, that was dope. I have a similar story if you want to hear it.
Sure.
All right, so I used to be in this band back in 99, 2000. I'm not going to mention the name now, whatever. It's for the book. Right before I was in the band, this band does a lot of touring. So right before I was in the band was on tour with this rapper. We're going to call him MC Light and Sweet because I don't want to mention his name. It's irrelevant. But he's huge now. He wasn't huge then, but they were on tour and something happened and one of the guys in my band stuck up for him and chased away like a potential beating for him. So fast forward a year later, I'm in the band. The singer of the band's living with me and he's staying with me temporarily. So these people start coming around us and we eventually find out they work for MC Light and Sweet and they want to sign us. So they set up a meeting. MC Light and Sweet's huge. MC Light and Sweet's a personal assistant comes to my house and she's throwing a deal at us, talking to us verbally at first, getting us, trying to get us to see if we're interested. So she comes in the first 5 minutes, she's like, hi, blah, 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 blah. And then she gets to business. And as soon as she mentions MC Light and Sweet, I'm like, fuck MC Light and Sweet. Oh, shit. And yo, my singer, I wish I had a photo of his face. I think he shit out like an onion ring or something. I don't know. It was crazy. But I ruined the whole thing. That was it. She had not too much to say after that and went home. Yeah. So they weren't too happy with me for a while. See, I was so passionate about my music, and I was passionate about what other people were saying, and I totally disagreed with what Light and Sweet was saying, and like to the third power, you know what I mean? So I was very, I got diarrhea in the mouth. Sometimes I don't know where the brakes are.
Fair enough. Sometimes you just hear something and you're like,
we need some show Damian Burns music that whenever he's done speaking, it's just like it plays that music and shit. Like
oh, you know what's crazy?
That music explains it all.
You know what's crazy that you're speaking about that? Is like if you Google me, there's not too many tracks that are. I mean, I have a whole album out there with like 25 tracks, but you're not gonna find so much. But what you're gonna find is it's gonna say Damian Burns, punk rocker, artist. That's it. It doesn't say I'm a hip hopper. I've never made a punk rock song in my life, so I'm not mad at that either.
I'm not mad at it either, bro.
I'm not mad either.
Big facts. Yo, but Albie's clip was also hilarious because fucking Albie, like, yo, bro, what the fuck, son? Like,
that was great, yo. He's passionate about his music.
If I was pun, like, oh, I don't like, yo, you wouldn't have been able to come out for like a good month. Like, you're grounded. Like, no events, no being on stage.
Alpo, you got to eat Alpo.
That's it.
Yeah, that Albie shit was pretty great because it went beyond the story. So the storytelling is impeccable, which is cool. But he gave like this performance art piece, right, where he moved around his apartment and fucked with the Zoom for like 3 hours. Like he just he went hard, and it was an experience. Like you Flacco told me it would be an experience, but I wasn't expecting it still, because that isn't, you just, who uses like who manipulates the whole room like that, and just like everyone's so worried about their perfect setup. He's like, I'm gonna make this the fucking shittiest thing ever, but like still made it the best thing ever. Like it's so amazing what he did. Not like shitty, like it was poor quality, but like he literally cuts the zooms and shit on purpose for like dramatic effect. Like, you know, like it's just it was like, to me it felt like a performance art piece.
Yeah, nah, definitely was. Albie's the best, man. He's a through and through entertainer, like all the way through. Like every time he's on camera, like
I like listening to him talk.
Yeah, nah, he's everybody's wild, great. Like everybody's just amazing. Everybody that we interviewed, there hasn't been like one bad interview yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they've all been just full of knowledge nuggets and learning. I feel like every one of them I walk out after, and it's just like I got to spend all this time thinking about it and digesting it, and honestly just absorbing. Like, I don't know. It's like it just feels like
in the comments is saying, "Yeah, no bad interviews." You know?
Yeah, I don't. It's, to me, it just feels like these great conversations I would have had off camera either way, honestly. And it's just cool to be able to do it with other people.
Facts.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Let's get it.
Okay, we're talking like the beginnings of a lot of people. Like Iron Solomon's the guy I've talked to, so it's like so fucking cool to get like a little insight into like this world more. Like, so you guys are is it like an organized thing in the sense that y'all was like, you knew what you were doing, collectively working together to like build up something, or was it more random than that?
It was more visceral and random. You know, I saw Iron Solomon. First of all, Iron Solomon, he was a living legend, to the point he was such a living legend, it felt like he was an urban myth.
because this guy he just wouldn't lose. He couldn't lose. You know, he was that good. And, you know, we were just going from block to block, from city block to city block, from street to street, battling just whoever would accept the challenge. So it wasn't regulated by any league or any format or any business, anything like that. It was more so visceral, random. Think if you ever seen the movie The Warriors, that's literally what it was like.
Okay.
Literally was like Warriors, and it was literally 40 seconds. It was always the major wherever there were a lot of young black and brown people congregating in the city. So it would be like 42nd Street, 14th Street, Union Square, West 4th Street. Those are like the three main pockets that like you would catch guys either battling or trying to like get their mixtape off, you know, like it's where everybody goes because that's where a majority of tourists and, you know, people from the city that are like looking to like have a good time are all hanging out.
So it's like, it's really, really helpful, believe it or not, for you to say all this to me, because a lot of times I hear people say stuff like on the Facebook, like, yo, the streets is how it pops off. And that doesn't mean a lot to me as a person who's never really been in the streets. But as you describe this kind of stuff, especially with the era you're doing it, right? Like this is when we was all I was in high school at this point. So like it really adds a lot of context to how like my older peers think. And it's really helpful. So I just want to thank you for dropping these knowledge nuggets on us like this and answering these questions, because yo, it's such a pleasure to pick your brain like this.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right, so you said you went through the whole thing with the 2003, and then in 2004 your battling is happening, and then you said your story continues at that point.
Yes, you know, 2004, you know, this is still a hobby for me. And then 2005, a very pivotal moment happens. My brother comes up from Houston, and he's staying with me at my crib in Harlem. And then I have a double date from Black Planet. Black Planet was a social networking site.
Okay.
And my brother dates who is now my personal assistant, and I was dating her friend. And we go, and I'm rhyming in the car. This is a first date. I'm rhyming in the car all night. And then we go and we see Nelly outside of a club.
Okay.
And I step out of the car. They were like, yo, go rhyme for Nelly. And I step out of the car, me and my brother, and I go up, and I'm nervous as hell. I go up to Nelly, and I don't even rhyme. I just say, yo, one day we're going to work together. And then I go back into the car. That's how nervous I was. And the girl, Lakita Steele, she was like, I want to introduce you to somebody. And she introduced me to Saint of GFC New York. And we started GFC New York that following week.
What
in
is
2004.
GFC New York?
God, Family, and Culture. It's a consulting firm. So we'll get into that later on in the interview. But, you know, basically we did marketing for Nipsey Hussle, Big Crit.
Okay.
Myself, FKI, Black, who spells his name with a 6, Rory. The list goes on and on and on. A$AP Rocky.
I've heard of all these names. That was a really good list of names you gave.
Yeah, we basically did the marketing for these guys.
That's dope.
So we start GFC New York, and we decided that I was going to be the lead artist off of GFC New York. I was going to blend everything together. Now, at this time, I was wearing, mind you, this is 2004, 2005. So I was wearing, we go back into fashion. I was wearing Pradas. I was wearing Dunks. I was wearing Rockin' Republic denim. I was wearing True Religion denim. I was wearing 7 jeans. This is
all
before
legit
everybody
for
was
that
wearing
year.
any of that stuff. Everybody and their mother was baggy.
I hate them
Every human
shoes,
being
sneaker
was
shoes.
baggy. So we was doing skinny jeans and this fashion stuff. So we started a magazine called Laced Magazine, which was about sneaker culture. and I was the first artist, and that's when we decided to change my name from Renegade to Mickey Fax. And the name Mickey Fax came from Natural Born Killers, Mickey and Mallory. So I took the name Mickey, and then I wanted to only talk about facts, but I spell it with a Z because I was fashion forward and I thought facts looked cooler than just FACTS.
It does.
So from there we sampled NERD, and that was the first project that I put out as Mickey Fax.
Yeah, that project is pretty awesome. Also, Mickey Fax was pretty forward thinking from like an SEO equity point of view, because had you put the S, you would have had a lot more competition just off the jump. There was
Right.
going to be dudes named Mickey who wanted to be Mickey Mr. Fax, you know? But by adding that Z actually like helped your future self out, in my opinion. So that's fucking fire thinking.
In terms of algorithm too, and in Googling, when I Google if I Google Mickey Fax with an S, you get Mickey Mouse Fax.
Yeah. So like
if you Google it with a Z, you get me. So
that's dope though.
Yeah. Mickey was a really interesting interview, like because he did so many things. Like first, like he was so innovative with like a lot of the things that he was doing at the time. Like nobody was really like rappers weren't breaking on the internet yet. Like Soulja Boy had kind of like his own thing that he did. I don't even know if that was around the same time or if it was right before it. But like that whole method of like blogs blowing up rappers instead of like going through a record label and whatnot, like that was wild innovative. That was not like what was
It was
the
like
norm.
Not Right and shit, right?
Yeah, Not Right, Two Dope Boys. Damn, I forget. Vanguard.
I remember.
No, he think he knows because like Iron probably got a lot of. Didn't you guys get covered in?
Yeah, we did maybe like a complex, but it's not there anymore. The only time,
Right.
like I remember the time because of the pussy I had at that time. She put me onto a lot of it, believe it or not.
This when the sound will come in great. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say so? I'm sorry. Shit.
Yeah, right.
We're on Twitch.
Just keep in
David.
mind that the general rule of thumb for the internet, if you're ever
Meow.
live
My pussy
streaming,
cat. Leo, come here. Meow meow.
is to not do that so much because it could get everybody in trouble. All it takes is for one person to hit the 3 dots and then click the report button. And it's not that anyone really wants it to be that way, but the people who make the rules have very explicit rules
Regular
about
Holly Jolly
languages.
citizen.
Yeah, so that's just kind of what it is on the net these days with the live streaming life.
I'm sorry, man. I was raised by animals.
I hear you. I do hear you. I'm not offended. I'm not. It's just, we gotta moderate
No, I get the whole thing. I
situations.
don't want to. It's business. I know. I understand. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Actually, I'm just gonna sit back and watch. It's hard. It's hard for me not to touch this microphone button, but I'm gonna try my hardest. I cut my fingers off. I got scissors right here. I'm saying
That's fair.
Don't
that was
harm
fine
yourself,
to
yo.
say,
Don't
but
harm yourself.
yeah, don't do that.
Don't harm yourself, yo. I want to go on record. I want to go on record as having had said that after you said that. Yo,
Mickey Fax is mad
get
smart.
out the comments encouraging shit. I see you, ill. This is a damn shit show.
This is, you know what though?
This is the best. This is the best though. Everybody's really enjoying themselves in the comments.
Yeah,
big
that's
shouts
what I'm
to,
seeing.
Big shouts to Golden Jenny. Big shouts to Ishmael. Big shouts to oh man, I don't know how to pronounce some of these
There's Cool Man Logan's there, Lindell Williams there.
There we go.
Your lady friend Bonnie's there.
Hey, Bonnie.
And a couple of people have come and gone throughout it. And then there's a whole bunch of people here. And then there's other places where there are people. So all the places. You know, it's pretty cool when you think about all the different spots out there that like able to watch it at the same time and just have like this cohesive like thing to do on a Saturday. That's fucking cool to me that y'all are like participating in this. And I say that sincerely because I mean usually we're in the middle of an interview and everybody pops on and then the interview ends and everybody's gone. You know, it's not like often that it's like
Damien.
Like
God. Come on.
Oh my gosh, don't do that, dude.
Yo.
Oh man.
We're gonna go to
boy.
the next clip, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Patches. And I was like, the fuck out of here with that.
I like the Brooklyn name.
That made no sense. I did a Canadian movie. I'm in it briefly, but I coached all the rappers how to all the actors how to rap, and then I coached all the rappers how to act. It was a battle rap movie that came out last year, and I produced it. I'm literally on set working with everyone, getting them sharper, helping with the lines, helping with lyrics and stuff like that. And it was the first YouTube movie to ever be.
You're talking about Bodied, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So actually, we do really well on the keyword for Bodied on YouTube for our review of it, and people consistently click on that shit, click off. But I saw that you were in that, and I have to tell you that that movie was extremely important for me. So the fact that you even were involved in that, I wanted to bring it up. Hopefully at some point.
Involved. Shoosh. I could tell you stories about Body.
Oh my gosh.
On that set, people use me as a verb, like the white girl on that set, the lead. I forget her name. Oh, no, I forget her name. But she was like, "Man, I wish I had an Albie." She was like, and then everybody was like, "What?" Because she's a white girl, right? So you like, you wish you had her like, and she's like, "No." Like Disaster was there. You can ask him, Hollow, and he was like, she was like, because I was helping Jackie Long, which is one of my best friends, and she was like, "I wish I had somebody who is my best friend helping me, even though he's just as good as me, but putting himself aside to make sure my film is the best it could be. I wish I had an Albie." And then everybody's like, "Yeah, I got an Albie, my man Derek," and like that, like, you know what I mean? It was like, that's me, man. I'm ready to add and to the game, no matter what, no matter if nobody knew I worked on Body or not. That's my
that
project.
movie is so
you know?
big for me because I didn't understand battle rap at all, at all before Bodied, and we watched Bodied, right? So one of my patrons forced us to like do a full review for that shit, right? So a guy like
you and Bonnie watch Body
and did a full review that is currently available, and we do really well on the keyword when you look for Bodied. So we're right there. We're like right next to the official fucking movie most times you search it. So we went through the whole plot of this movie. But here's the thing, man. That movie was like, I used to be the protagonist of that movie. Like in all the worst fucking ways possible, down to his desire to use certain language and find scapegoat ways around it. That movie was big for me. So first of all, I had to like face some demons within myself watching that movie and realize there might still be some shit to work on. But secondarily, I didn't understand half the reasons people did shit in battle rap till I watched that movie. And then when you had your fucking language popping up on screen where it's like an XO's XO and all that shit, I was like, oh, bars. He's like, it really, really helped me become a better album reviewer. And for the rest of our lives, I wouldn't be here today probably talking to you with the finesse and everything if it wasn't for Bodied. It was a big part of my growth. So the fact that you created that helped me get to a point where I can talk to you, which is a weird kind of cool full circle thing in my opinion. I just want you to know that sometimes, like, you know, like your work reaches way fucking farther and has way deeper impacts than you may even know.
Yeah, shout outs to Kid Twist, Canadian. Bunch of Canadians was in that film. Pat Stay. That's why it's a Canadian film. He wrote it, you know, even though it was shot in LA as if we were in the Bay. But Yeah, yo, I was
Shouts
able
out
to
to
do a
the
lot.
whole battle rap community. Shouts out to
Poison Pen's in it. Pen. I have
Poison
exclusive
Pen.
footage. If you ever want exclusive footage of Body, the behind the scenes stuff of me, Pen, everybody running around, I can literally get that to you. No problem.
Yes, that would be so fucking cool. Yes, that would be like amazing.
Yeah.
I love these clips. Are you posting just these clips on YouTube?
They're all on Clips channel that I've been doing. So yours are there, maybe. Well, at least one of yours is out. There's one Dama clip for the Texas thing. That
Yeah,
we put out, like,
the
right
Texas thing,
like-
the Texas clip they got out immediately.
But like your other clips are kind of in a pipeline. They're coming as fast as we can get them out.
Okay.
But yeah, the channel has got a lot of clips on them at this point.
What's the title of like clips like that? Like, do you put like I'll be back talks about blah 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 blah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Like,
Well,
yeah,
we're
let's
kind
have
of
a
trying to
discuss-
figure it out, right?
Let's have a group discussion. Like this, like we're here. We're like we're talking with everyone, you know. So like I was
You should definitely mention BTS clips in every one.
I was telling Holden that like because he was telling me that Bonnie, like, she comes up with titles sometimes and
They're all
she
her.
runs
Yeah, they're
What?
all her that's doing it. She's writing them all.
she writes them all, and sometimes she comes with a clip title that like she runs by Holden because she thinks it might be too spicy. And like Holden usually, like, if he thinks also it's too spicy of a title, you know, like that, he's like, nah, chill, don't go that way. And I was like, I told him, you should run them by me because I could run them by the homies, because I think somebody like Albie kind of would like spicy titles.
So you say that?
know?
Right.
Like,
But just to add to that,
there's some of the homies that come through.
I gotta interject on that
enough.
just real quick. So I did that one time with Albie, and then we posted the shit to Twitter, and he hits me in the DMs being like, "That's not exactly it. You guys were kind of off. Can you please delete that one and save that for the fucking video?" And
Really?
I'm like, I swear to fucking gosh, like the fucking one.
You
and I'm like, no shit, like that, because I'm just like whatever, and I just because I just tweeted it, right? Because I'm like, I haven't really been touching.
What was
Twitter
the
much.
title?
Something about the Lost Prophets documentary thing he's working on.
The Albie Backs connection to the Lost
No,
Poets.
I that's not it.
You
I
know,
deleted
it's
the
like
clip.
with Albie
I just
specifically
deleted the
with his
clip.
stories of him living with Big Pun. Like a good title would be Big Pun's old roommate tells stories that you've never heard before about Big Pun, and don't
Yo,
even
Bonnie,
say
I don't know if you're hearing
Albie's
this, but
name.
listen to this, Bonnie. If you're not listening, start listening, Bonnie. Dama's
But-
fucking crushing it. She's not.
'Cause
She's that's it.
like that's what would make somebody click. Like if you
For
don't
real.
know who Albie Back is, like you don't care about what his story or relationship to Big Pun is. But if you hear Big Pun's old roommate confesses,
Forget
you know
it.
what I'm saying? Like some shit like that. Like first of all, clickbaity titles is just that. It's just a title. You know what I'm saying? Like people clickbaity shit pisses people off sometimes because you click
That
on
shit
it and
goes
it's not
on
what
all
you
the
think.
time.
Yeah, it's proper marketing of media.
Yeah,
especially when
proper.
it-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you know what? At the end of the day, the main point is to drive traffic to. Once people click on the clip, they'll see that there's, as long as the titling isn't misleading, because that's the main problem, right?
Yeah.
With clickbait stuff,
but it's
is when the title is misleading and
Right.
it's telling you something that's not true. But like him being like his old roommate, technically speaking, true, you know, like technically speaking, fact, you know.
Word.
But
So the
no,
other
what
thing is,
I-
you can't let somebody dictate it. After they do an interview with you, they got you own it. You shouldn't have said it if you
I
don't
don't
want
agree.
it
No,
out.
no, 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 no. I gotta. Hold on.
Relax, you see, Damien.
Nah, but just straight
You
up.
want to
This is what you do the
maintain
Damien
the
sound.
relationship with your friends, so you
That's
don't want
it.
to say
Like
it.
I would say if anybody that I interviewed wants me to take down the interview, I'd be like, I mean, it's live. We chose to do this live. We can't take back what was said. But if you want to be like, don't use that clip to promote it because I don't like how that particular clip brands me, I should just on an honor shit, just be like, nah, that makes sense. Like I try to
That
be as honorable
beforehand,
as I can
you
be
should
with
be
shit,
like,
you
yo,
know?
if you're gonna make a clip, why don't we talk about it first? You know,
that shit is
Yeah, why don't
really
you just run
not-
it by the person before you?
That's what I was. That's
Make the
what
title. I was gonna say even that could be offensive to like a person like I'll be back or anybody. But like
you're not
roommate. I'm I'll be back. What are you talking about, roommate?
No, yeah. I mean, look, if
Go ahead,
I were
go
to
ahead,
if
Flavio.
I were to title it right, I would say that that's a cool title as long as we put the heavy bold line right there, and then you have I'll be back on Bridge the Gap. You know, that way like his name is
Yeah,
actually
that's
in
like
there.
you can watch the full interview, and it
Yeah,
adds
you know?
traffic. Like it's all about getting. Like we're at the
Yeah.
stage of the game right now where nobody's looking, so it's like you want to get people to look, and if it
Yeah.
gets people to look, then what
So
they
I'm just gonna
see when they get there is like,
Yo.
you know what I'm saying. Then they can just continue to be fans.
So like I was doing this yesterday when I was going through YouTube, and I did it subconsciously. I was thinking about like the titles. Like I'm looking at titles, and now I'm like, yo, all right, you got me. I clicked on your shit because it was an interesting enough title. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I subconsciously judge shit by that, and the attention span is getting so much, you know, smaller now. Even when we post the shit in the onside hype rap shit, right? It's like you were telling me like, yo, don't even put that whole shit what you guys are doing destructive criticism. Just drop your links. And when you put that, so much more people just fucking drop their links. When I put a whole
Because
fucking
people don't care about you and what you're doing. They care about
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they're doing and what they're interested in. That's all.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
say exploit me, exploit the shit out of me.
I mean, like I said, I think that
I'm
I
not
think that it's a good.
1,000% sure that I fully agree that we'll continue to attract the people that we're attracting if we completely go that route without consideration. I've been in content marketing for a very long time, and clickbait is short-lived. So we have to toe a tight line, or what happens is you lose trust with your audience over time.
Well,
They-
you can't be lying. You have to be honest, but it's
Yeah.
about wording
So-
the honest. Like
Gotta
you
deliver.
can't like say Big Pun's old roommate confesses to some bullshit that Pun like some secret shit. Like it has to be like Big Pun's old roommate told stories that you never heard before, and that's a complete fucking fact.
No,
You know
I
what I'm
agree with
saying?
that.
So
or a
No,
question
Dama-
mark too.
only gonna-
Or you could put
Dama-
a question mark. Did Big Pun's old roommate did
Or
this
or
question
Big
mark?
Pun's,
Right.
Big Pun's, you know, also to like it could be Big Pun's nephew. Regardless, the point is like what I was
Nephew
saying
word.
is I think that it's a good thing to just run the titles by each person before we put them out, and they're gonna give
I'm not
the
gonna
go
like
ahead
that.
or the chill.
We can, it's
you know?
not reliable.
Yeah, Danny, we're still streaming.
Yeah, but I just wanted to put out the idea of trying to, it's not sustainably reliable. Nobody's going to play on our timeline, and then we're just going to have this backlog of clips. And like, it's not reasonable to get cosigns on every clip. If I'm doing 5 or 6 clips and they're supposed to be out like within 2 days.
Well, put it out, and then like I would say, get clickbaity if you know marketing.
Or shock value. Clickbaity
It's
flips
just that,
or
like,
shock
I'm
value.
not like that shit doesn't work like it used to is the problem. It's like we're in this rift where it's being punished and other things are working. I'm not convinced that it's the smartest choice.
I mean, if you're
understand the
if
value
you're
of what you're
maintaining
saying.
integrity, then it is. It's not. It's because it's like saying behind
but
that suit interview
Dama,
with
like-
I'll be back, and he talks about this and that when nobody knows who when the person who doesn't know who either of y'all are is not
But
gonna.
then we
click on
have
it. You want to
so
get
this-
those people.
So let's say this works for the Big Pun series of clips, and we can go that way for celebrities, which we have been testing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not actually, Dama, everything you said, I was 100% with. Some of the other examples went more extreme, so I was just trying to course correct a little bit there.
Right.
Dama, your shit was on point. I told my girlfriend to start listening. But like, at the other hand, not all, like 80% of these clips are not giving us celebrity clickbait. So like, let's just be real. That's not like, so for a few of them, yeah, but like most of these clips, we're just trying to describe what the clip is in the best way and like figure it out a little bit. Cause like,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
an
but like okay,
it's-
so like look, like
Yeah, Elle said it right too. Targeting an audience is not clickbait.
Cabin
You know what I'm
said that,
saying?
yeah, targeting an order. Yeah, exactly. I agree. Like it's like you don't have to like say like some
Oh,
bullshit.
Cabin said that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Cabin.
Cabin. Like when I submitted my shit to some rap reels and whatever, a bunch of hip hop shit on Instagram, they were like, yo, yeah, okay, send me the video and let me come up with a clickbaity title. And I was like, how about, would you get locked up for your man, ladies? Or ladies, would you get locked up for your love? Or fellas, would you get locked up for your girl? You know what I'm saying? Because the song is Locked Up for Your Love. So it's like catchy clickbaity, but at the same time, it
But
has
I
to
don't.
do
That's
with
not clickbait. That's just great copy. I'm sorry. I have to make a distinguish. That's good copy. That's not clickbait. That's actually just fucking
but
excellent. Like,
they
whoever
can,
wrote that
those
deserves
two could
money.
be intersexual, you know, intersection of clickbait, because bait, just like fish bait,
Mm.
there could be a good juicy worm or there could be a
Yeah.
bullshit worm.
Yeah.
But either way, it's bait. So whether
All right,
the
I
food
take
is
that.
on the hook is real or not, it's still something to reel people in to get the fish. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So I know clickbait, the word is like shitty. It gets
No,
a
I
bad
hear what
rap,
you're saying. I hear what you're
real,
saying.
you know, it's
I just
real.
want to. I want to find the balance. I really gotta
Right.
care because at the end of the day, it's my face and reputation that's
That's a
really the
good
most
way to
impacted
explain
by
it.
this, because
That's
it's
a
my
good way to
like,
explain it.
and so like I really hear what you're saying, and I would rather go conservatively and move towards finding the balance than go too aggressive and cross lines. Like, because at the end of the day, like I'm the one who talked to them, right? So they're looking at me. I'm the one producing the clips. So like, I hear what everyone's saying, and I'm not dismissing anything. I need to think about a lot of this, and really, we got to work. If you have suggestions that you see things, I'm very open to that for real. And I want to make sure that we do it right, so that it's not like bad, but I also, it's not like I'm not necessarily. I have to be comfortable at the end of the day with like the branding that's right there, and I have to be comfortable at the level of clickbait that it is. So I'm okay.
I think
with
you're right
it.
about
Bonnie
the
said
you
it's
got to
giving
find
her
a,
stuff to think about.
you
Yeah,
got to
that's what I'm
find a
saying.
balance. You got to
The
find a
balance.
balance.
But yo, this is like, yo, Dama, the way you broke that down is like art. You should make a song about clickbait just as for the fuck of it. I'd listen to that any day of the week.
She
Nah,
could
it's
just
really
teach a
helpful.
class. She could just teach a class. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She get paid to be a speaker, come in, bang, bang, bing, gives a
She just gave it up
speech,
for free though.
lets them know, informs the folks, and it's like, look, here you go. Now you're educated. Give me a check. I'm out of here. Thank you very
Right.
much. If you want me to, I'll sign your papers because I'm nice like that. I'm down. You know?
Yeah, and attention span is a big thing now. So if I look at, like, even with me now, like I look at a fucking title, if it's not that interesting, I'm gonna move on and forget about it. So like if you have something that's kind of enticing, for sure that's gonna like, yo, all right, I need to watch that shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's fair.
Not being clickbaity. I'm just saying, just
So that's what I like, the idea of enticing. Enticing to me is just good
Enticing,
copy,
yeah.
because it's not clickbait. I don't, because if you're clickbaiting, it's like gambling. You have to. It's a lot harder than finding like a good. Because we're gonna make a lot of clips. So whatever we come up with, like it has to be like replicatable times 1,000 kind of thing. And trying to be creative, clickbaity 1,000 times is how you end up going in some weird direction. So enticing, I really like, because enticing is just about finding the value in the clip
I understand
and
where you're
spicing
coming
it up.
because you don't want to use like you see the clickbait is kind of like a negative thing. See, us being New Yorkers, where it's everything's a hustle, so it's like whatever. It's clickbait,
Yeah, we
you know?
understand. We understand media because we all understand like New York media kind of led the charge with the way that media kind of works, from the gossip rags to like the gossip page, the sports section. You just see how media
The
always
Easter
is
Bunny.
with everything. And so like to us, it isn't that big a deal. But again, like I said, I think really including the people that we interview, like I think that it's like valuable to remember, like including people in the conversations about them. You'd be surprised at how much further you get with people, you know, and how much like happier you make them. So even if we're not getting great clickbait titles that they're approving, then at the very least we're building the rapport that we're like, you know, coming to you with
So
these
like
things.
the one
and we're-
thing that I've gotten told is I like that you're a serious journalistic approach. And the second you go too far with the clickbait, they will stop saying that. And I kind of like that version of the branding where people are like, nah, they're taking this mad serious, even if the views don't come quite as fast. Because then I'm just waiting for some fucking other person to go like, holy shit, and see what the fuck is happening. Like there are other ways to get views that are less reliant on organic SEO. And like I have some ideas down the line that I'm gonna do to push. But honestly, we spent like 4 months trying to catch up. Like we haven't even caught up yet to really sit there and think about it properly, how to really
Yeah.
do some of the next stuff. But
Yeah.
I think
But
there's
now
a
we got
whole,
all the artillery for the future. You know what I mean?
yeah. And so I feel like finding that enticing, like I like I hear some of the angles that you're saying, and I'm like, nah, I can see what you're saying. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, there's some twists we could do that would really find a good balance between everything. and it'll just take some time to fuck around with it and figure it out. Like where it really gets hard is the ones that aren't like clickbaity, right? Ones that are just kind of like so and so describes a regular thing. Like, you know, that's when it's like, that's when you have to get creative with it.
I'd watch
This is it's really just, I don't know. This is a good conversation. I like this a lot. My brain is flying right now.
I love this. This is a great episode. We should definitely do this like every few months. Like we've been doing this now. When did we start? What was the first Saturday? When?
Somewhere in December.
Somewhere in December was the
It's
first
about-
Saturday. So
it's
like
about
we're
3
already heading into like our third month in, essentially. Or
Yeah,
third
no,
month
it's,
completed.
It's cool. I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of interest in this. I know, like when we said
You got to talk to
Cortez-
Slane.
Who?
Slane?
Hells yeah, he got the crazy interesting story. Dreams
Like
come true.
fucking, like fucking from La Coca Nostra. And them?
Yeah, I'm the one. If it wasn't for me, honestly, like George will tell you this. Like he said it so many times. If it wasn't for Damien, you guys wouldn't even know me because I convinced him to rap.
That's big. I like him. I know who he is. I don't. Honestly, I want to talk to all of them. Yo, if I got, that's a big one. I could get. I know a lot of people that fuck with La Coca Nostra.
Yeah, so I'll talk to him in a couple days. I'll ask him what's up. He'll do it.
That's fucking cool. Cool AF. Ismail, you'd probably be real fucking happy with that. Nah, for real, like it's dope. I know I said the Cortez
Well,
one is
you
coming.
know he was
and,
in Eye
like,
to Eye, right?
I did not really realize
Yeah,
that.
me
Maybe
and
I
him
knew.
were both in Eye to Eye with Omar and Jason.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Nah, but
That was a no, you
That was 1996.
I'm like 8 or 9. Definitely. Nah, but like it's been a blessing to do this to me. Like for me, like this has just been such a humbling experience of like learning. I like learning. It's like cool school. I don't know how else to put it. I feel like I go to school.
cool
but it's fun as fuck.
school. I like it. I like
I
it.
like it a lot.
All right.
Nah,
It's
but-
so regular
clip.
to us, though. It really is. You keep saying that, and the more that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, because I never even think about it, but it's so regular. Like hip hop is so ingrained because when you anywhere in New York City, you step out the door, there's graffiti there. That's the first thing you see.
Yeah, that was something I realized when I think it was Julio walked me around the lower something side and showed me what it looked like, and I was like, okay, no, that's not at all what we have here. It was quite like eye-opening. Yeah. Yeah, the next clip, Flacco.
Very
Like, so I heard
in
this
the
really
flesh.
I heard like
Yeah, go
one
ahead.
really interesting idea for the idea of like fashion, especially with certain environments. And I think it was when I was talking to Bones Brigante, and it had to do with the idea that in an environment where wealth distribution doesn't allow you to acquire wealth, fashion is all you got. And it
Okay,
became, like, huge part of-
that's a
I
glass
would-
half full way of looking at it. But let me flip it for you in maybe the people of color community. Is also the negative piece is that when we don't have money or we don't have wealth, but we're gonna make it look like we do, right? We're gonna look like we're as fly as possible. I remember when the Lincoln Navigator was the big truck. This is like late 90s. And I remember dudes living in the P's and got a fucking Lincoln Navigator. Like he's living in the projects and got a Lincoln Navigator. Like his car is worth more than his rent for like a year. You know what I'm saying? Like we have our priorities mixed up sometimes in our community, is that before we'll buy a house, we'll buy a Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? Before we'll put away money for our child's college tuition, we'll buy them a fucking like diamond pacifier. You know what I'm saying? So you could also argue that we spend money improperly. But again, that's not where I want to go. What I want to go is my particular drip is around the Polo, Ralph Lauren, or Ralph Lauren shit, right? And that's something that's unique to me. I talk about it in my song on my album. I talk about it on the song called Sauce It Up.
Yeah.
But in essence, the science behind polo for me is very unique. I'm not rocking polo to be on some like I'm shitting on y'all because I have polo. Because if we keep it a buck, polo is not the super high level brand. It's not Louis, it's not Gucci. It doesn't cost like to that level. It's not Prada, right? But for me, it's because in the era when I grew up, I watched the lowlives in Brooklyn literally go rob stores of polo. You know what I'm saying? They were jacking polo, they stealing it, and they boosting throughout the world. And frankly, it was, to me, it was almost like taking this very like shiny thing and stealing it back and making it ours, right? The polo ads you see look very prestigious with old white guys riding horses on a 75,000 acre lawn, right? But we're stealing that same hoodie and wearing it to Barclays Center, burning an L. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the idea of kind of the reverse gentrification of the polo shit. That's what I call it. Y'all think it's this high end like brand for people who play polo. I'm using it as a brand for people who make beats and put L's up and make music. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy
Zoo,
about
do you
you
want
saying
to
that? Because
you
like
want
in
to
my,
elaborate on the low lives? Because nobody's ever talked about the low lives on the show before.
I don't know what the low lives are.
Okay, so Polo, as you see, is the brand, and they took the last two letters, right, the low, and called themselves the Low Lives, and it's a group of people out of Brooklyn. So they would literally boost from stores, and boosting is the word for shoplifting, right? So they would do it in a very unique way, though, in that you would see teams of dudes like going like 12, 15, 20 deep, and they would go to a store in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, like a Macy's. And this wasn't the very discreet, like, I'm going to go in and try to slip some socks into my pocketbook and sneak out. This was like 20 dudes running in and literally racking, you know, because they're taking a whole rack of clothing and they're running out of the store with it. And their idea was kind of like, you're not going to catch us all, right? And frankly, we're going to grab so many items that even if we drop 6 items, we still going to leave with 20 some odd items. And number one, they would rock it a lot of times. And number two, they go back to the hood and they sell it. So it became this this movement, you know, and it's famous, known, some of the famous low lives, of course, are Thurston Howell III and Rack Low and Sun Low. And I mean, there's so many dudes out there. I don't want to discredit them, but frankly, the Low Lives is a real powerful movement. And that's what attracted me to polo. You're going to hear about this actually tomorrow night at 7 p.m. There's a show. We're calling it EO Low, and it's taking place at 7 p.m. and it's hosted by my man Olivier, also known as the Dubcavist. He's going to be hosting a show on Sunday night at 7 p.m.
Dubcavist, that's how it's
Tomorrow night
pronounced.
is the 10th, right? So January 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be about polo and like our love and admiration for it. And a lot of what I just shared is what turned me on to it so much. So I'm not stunting like Gucci belt, Prada this. I'm a low head, you know what I'm saying? And I'm it is like a religion, and I like to get fresh with it.
What's super
By the way,
interesting about
guys, there's a documentary that you can all check out called Very Ralph on HBO. So if you have HBO Max, you can check it out. And in that documentary, Thurston Howell III is featured because Ralph Lauren requested him personally. You know what I mean? And that goes to show you the impact that the Low Lives had on the brand of Ralph Lauren.
That's a
and Polo.
fact. The picture with Thurston Howell and Ralph is like the grail, the holy grail picture. But this book too, yo. This is a book that Thurston put out. This shit is called Bury Me with the Low On. This book is insane. It captures mad people's collections. Elder Sensei's in here, Just Blaze is in here, Thurston Howell's in here, of course. It chronicles like the history of the Low Lives, and it's people's collections in here. Dallas Penn is in here. Dallas Penn is the guy that Vanguard bought the coat off of to give me recently, yo. So for everybody who know that Van got me a polo coat for Christmas, he bought it off of Dallas Penn, who's featured in this book. So many connections.
fire segment.
Yeah, I started noticing polo on people everywhere after that one. I didn't notice how many people I knew wore polo until I saw that, and I started seeing people rocking polo and stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, look at that.
Yo,
Nobody got that jacket that Zoo got though.
yo, word. I was gonna say, man, like you're here. He's talking about you, right?
Yeah. I copped this jacket. Dallas Penn is like a dude who is down with DCEP, Sean Price from back in the day. Is a really, really talented writer and social media personality, does podcasts and shit like that. He used to be on the Combat Jack show. He's the ill polo collector. He's got like triples of everything and stuff on ice in vacuum sealed bags, like for 20 years. You know what I mean? And he had a polo sport snorkel that was a 2X that he, when I went to go get it from him, he was like, oh man, like I forgot, like there's like, this shit's going to be way too big on you. Like, I don't even want to sell it to you. And I'm like, nah, you're bugging. Give it to me. And he was damn right. It was like it was like in the era where polo was making oversized stuff. It's Polo Sport from like 98, right before they started making RLX. It's like one of the last jackets they came out with. And it's like ill, all blacked out. There's no big, like, fancy stuff. It's got Polo Sport in black on a black jacket, mad low key, classy. You know what I mean? But also it's an expedition jacket. So it's like, you could really like go to the tundra with it, and it's like, it's a bigger fit. And it just never, I literally wore it 3 times and it was like, this winter came and I was like, yo, Zoo is like made this dope album. He got the joint with the Low song, you know what I mean? All of that. Like, I've worn this jacket 3 times. More life if Zoo has it. It was already on ice for 20 years, you know what I mean? Like, and was just like, yo, B, like, I'm gonna be in Jersey, come pick this jacket up for me. And he was like, wait a minute. When he met me, he was like, wait a minute, like, I didn't know you meant like a jacket. He thought I was like offering him like over like a thick hoodie or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or like a rain jacket or something.
Nah, this is some real expedition jacket type stuff. And he was gassed. And that's, why he's saying thank you in that clip, you know what I mean? In public, because it's definitely a Grail style piece, you know what I mean? Super vintage, but also in like never worn condition, So that's the a little more context to that story.
Amazing, yo. You know what? I wanted to do something to just for context, like so that you guys could get an idea of what boosting is. It's happening modern day in New York City in this quarantine. So let's go to Channel 7 News,
Armed robbers holding up the Chanel store in Soho in Manhattan. All of it caught on surveillance camera. They got away with $160,000 worth of items. New York cops really want to get these bad guys because they now say they may be linked to several other similar armed robberies. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett live at the scene in Soho with the very latest. Newt?
That's right, Bill. 12 wallets, 32 Chanel handbags to be precise. Yes, for a total of $160,000. But that's just one robbery and one store. As you said, investigators now believe that the same group of thieves may be responsible for nearly 24 similar robberies over the past several months.
The thieves cruise the streets of Soho and Midtown. Their targets, the highest of the city's high-end stores. It all happens in an instant. The thieves descend on the stores and grab whatever they can reach and take off with whatever they can carry. This cell phone video was released by NYPD detectives after a robbery at Chanel on Spring Street. It happened on...
That's just for context, So like it still happens. I'm super glad that the next generation took over. They took advantage of the masks, being able to cover your face more. And
Yo, make New York grimy again, yo. Hashtag make New York grimy again. Facts.
Yes,
All
please
day.
make New York grimy again, so we can move over there nice and smooth and fucking come back to, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I
I'd
mean?
love the rent to go down, definitely, but yo, I don't want it to be
All that
1991 again.
Yo, you
Yo.
guys ready? Yo, tomorrow.
6
well,
murders
tomorrow,
a day.
Tomorrow after the
Nah,
open mic,
bro.
yo, I'll meet y'all in the city. Or before.
Word.
Go get some juxes. Let's go.
I don't know what a juxes is.
That's
It's
a
not
robbery.
Christian.
Fair enough.
Juxes.
Holding a jux is like, you know, the plan for the setup. You know, like if you're planning to do a robbery, if you're planning any criminal activity that you're planning
Jux is the robbery.
the criminal activity.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. No, it is. It's helpful because I'm gonna come across that word one day in some track or another. I'm gonna be like,
It's in
I
every
don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
Different spellings too. Like we got a homie who had a clothing line, Jux Goods. He spelled it Jux. You know, I've seen it spelled Joox. Yeah, different spellings. All right, Cabin. You know, it's your surly eyes over there. Next clip.
Yay! Clip time.
That you resonated with the fact is so again back to your market research, you understood your audience, you understood who the fuck cares about this shit, and you also understood to take this education fucking level, right? So like you understood that if you take this educational approach, it's gonna be good.
It's like this, like I'm black, yo. So
That's true.
I got so many. Yeah, just in case you didn't notice, but I have so many stereotypes working against me, and I was raised to go against those stereotypes. So for me, it's like when I get a chance to show people how informed and educated I am, I'm taking that chance. Like I'm gonna do that, you know, because I want to show people that I'm not just some ignorant rapper type of dude. Because like I said, so I'm black, and then like I said, I'm a rapper. There's so many things going against me in that sense. Like people think the worst of rappers, you know what I mean? So now that I get to, I mean, this is a passion for me. I do this shit for free. it just so happened that I came out with my own cologne and I'm selling it. But before I did that, I was doing Fragrance Friday for a year and a half. So
Okay. So I think it's really important that we talk about Fragrance Friday because it's a great way to plug your shit. So regardless of your story, I think this is a great opportunity to make sure that we discuss this part of your life in full a little bit. Because, I'm a content marketer by my day job, and I'm all about community growth and all of these other things. That's like what I get paid to do at work. So to see you pull off everything flawlessly, dog, and that's what I'm saying. I think you knocked this one out, this Fragrance Fridays. It's a 10 on 10, smash it out the park hit in terms of your content marketing, social media, all of it. Like you got shit that's popping without hashtags. That's fucking powerful, dude.
Right. Yeah,
So
I mean, I just understood, like I said, I did it from a passion standpoint. And then when I started well, first of all, I'll tell you how I should started.
That's wonderful.
Pardon me, I'm on my way to the studio.
Yo, it is what it is. Thank you.
I'm about to go do a commercial for my fragrance. So yeah, I'm on my way to the studio. But
this is crazy cool, dude.
So basically my phone was disconnected for the week, right? And I hadn't posted on Instagram in like a few days. So I said, I need to post something. I gotta say something on here because I know people is wondering where the fuck I've been. So I just posted about the colognes that I had. And that shit got a crazy ass reaction. Like that shit got like it got the type of views that I would get if I was rapping. So I was like, oh shit. Like I was like, yo, I'm gonna start talking about this shit. So I spoke about it one day, just being funny, like, yo, this is Fragrance Friday. And I got on a train because this is how it goes. I don't know how it goes in Canada, but Dutch will tell you, like, you get on a train in New York, and when you get off the train, that's when you get your messages and shit. So I got off the train. I got off the train and I had mad messages.
Like that in Canada, yeah.
Big respect for wearing the mask like that. Big respect.
Oh, of course. We got to do that. You got a light in here? Can you cut the light on? Oh, thank you, sir. Gets a little abrasive.
Like a real New York taxi? That's so cool, dude. Yo, you're tripping me out with cool fucking shit. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was a good moment.
So cut that one on over there. So
yeah, nah, he. What you in? You in the Lyft or you in the Uber?
We in. This is. I think this is Lyft. Yeah, this is definitely Lyft.
Still in New York. It is what it is.
So yeah, I did New York Cap. I did the Fragrance Friday, and I just got a reaction off of it, and I was like, wait a minute, I just gotta keep that shit going. And I didn't even know where I was going with it. Like, I just knew, like, this is what I'm passionate about, and I just kept the shit up, and people just started paying attention to that shit. And now here it is, a year and a half later, I came out with my own fragrance.
Yo, we absolutely linking that in every single clip we put out of this. We linking it everywhere we can. We're gonna tell people to come support you as much as possible. Yo, check out the man's Instagram. Send him some love and make sure you purchase his fragrance. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna look into getting one.
I suppose we linked his Instagram, so we
you
did
got me
link
invested
that.
in scents,
We
dude.
did do the good
You got
linking.
me thinking, yo, I gotta get my smell game on.
Listen,
yo,
I
I'm
told
telling
you,
you,
she's gonna pay more attention to that cologne than she do that Gucci belt.
it's just big facts.
That's some New York shit right there. That's some New York advice. That's some New York advice. Like, yo, she gonna pay more attention to that cologne than that Gucci belt, bro. Which is an actual, like, great grown man tidbit right there, by the way.
That's
you know
a
what?
super fact.
You guys all smell gorgeous, I could tell.
What
It
happened?
just smell like
I could smell you from here. I could just tell you guys are all smelling gorgeous, like honeysuckles.
You know, I swear we really need that sound. It's gonna be golden when we get it. Muslim oil, cabin. Word.
So yeah. When did we do the Bones Brigante one? It was in January, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's dope. That was
I'm
a
not.
good
I
one.
mean, I think he was like, damn. I think he was like third or fourth interview.
Yeah, and yo, his Fragrance Friday series, if you have not watched it on Instagram, is a delightful experience. I highly recommend that you watch that for real because you learn a lot about cologne, and he just does like general commentary stuff, and it's one of the best things I've seen on Instagram. It is what it is. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just cologne's expensive after I looked into it, and I said, I don't know if I can afford a cologne habit right now. I'm gonna be
50
real
should
with
come
you.
out like 50.
You go get the free samples, kid.
Yo,
There's so
I'll
many
fucks with
ways you
that.
could hustle it in New York. So that's New York, man. The whole
Yo,
the
chicks like that shit too. You know.
Yeah, nah. I mean, everybody likes you smelling good. You know?
No doubt. I like to
Like-
balance it out once in a while, though. You know.
I don't know how to answer any of this shit.
Yo, one time I was working in the
There's
mall when I was a
never
kid.
a correct answer for Damian Burns, bro. That's why we
Yo.
need the sound effect. You just
Speaking-
have the
speaking
sound
of samples,
effect,
though,
play the sound effect.
Check
and
this
that-
sound effect out. I walk into a mall when I was like 20. This lady goes, "Would you like some cool water?" I go, "You got any warm puddle?"
Yo, we're going to the next clip.
Do you mind answering a couple of questions from people that have popped up as we're watching this?
Sure, yeah.
So your lady friend Bonnie has said, was there much resentment in your life from people you battled?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure there is, but like for the most part, you know, like I'm not that type of dude. Like I always show everybody love, you know what I mean? Even when it wasn't like because battle rap wasn't always like quite a community the way it is now, where like people fuck with each other and there's friendships and like everybody, like there are battles happening so often and they're out of town that everybody's staying at the same hotel and you know what I mean? Like that wasn't always the temperature, you know? And even back then, like I would reach out to people, you know, like I battled Math and then we went to London. I battled Math on Smack, and then I was supposed to go to London on a tour with Fight Club. I went to London on a tour with Fight Club, and Murder Mook and Math were both supposed to come. And Mook told them he was at the airport, yo, I'm booked to do shows out there, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, okay, like, let me see your work visa. And they didn't let him fly. And then Math had gotten into like an altercation the night before that was like some serious, it was a serious altercation. And I think he lost a friend of his. And so he just didn't show up. And then everywhere we went in London, they kept asking, oh man, I thought, you know, Math was supposed to be here, whatever. And so when I got back, I reached out to Math to be like, yo, like, I'm not a street dude like that. Like, I can't tell you how to respond to what happened, but like people in London is asking about you, you know what I mean? And like your man would want you to pursue that opportunity, I think, you know what I'm saying? So like, I always just feel like there's more that binds us than separates us. And so like, it's always been important to me to just show love no matter what, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't cost anything to be positive and reach out, and you can create more collectively than you can, you know, through separatism, you know what I mean? So I know there's resentment and there's some people that I have issues with, just petty bullshit issues that I don't fuck with, or I'm annoyed, they annoy me or whatever it is, but like nothing real, nothing that matters, you know what I mean?
That's cool, because I think it's also good to share that, because you know, maybe some people are watching it and go, you know, like how there's that phase with wrestling fans when they're young where they think everything's real.
Yeah.
And then one day you learn that it's not like necessary. I don't want to call it fake because I really respect the
Wait,
art
what?
of it. Okay, I'm having fun. That was fucking great. But like, you kind of come to realize it's not as real as you thought it was, and you know it's
Yeah.
kind of scripted and shit. And you know, not to say that battle rap is scripted, but that there's an act element to it. There's a character that gets kind of brought
It's a
into it.
performance art, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a better way to put it than anything I was saying, because I'm like, shit, man, somebody gonna get mad at me somewhere on the internet for that. But like, yeah, and then the fact is, when everything's off camera, everybody's a person again, and that's like really kind of important to remind people, I think, in the big picture, because it helps them understand that this is a performance. This is just like a thing that people are really, really into. And I have to admit, since we last talked, I've watched more battle rap. I've gotten more into it. And like, even my girlfriend, like, we were doing an album where she's like, I've gotten into the battle rap more, and now I'm starting to understand what's going on here with the bars. And a lot of that is like talking to you, and she's watching this, so she's hearing you, and like, you know, we all learn from this, so it's fucking cool.
Dope.
We did have one more question, if you don't mind. It's from Ismail Gadamsi. Back when we were talking about the grind time style, you were describing how there's the streets and then there's other versions of styles out there. And he wants to know, like, as a fan, what is your preference? Which is your favorite style?
I mean, I always loved both. Like, to me, I was like a holistic hip hop lover when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like, I used to sneak out the crib at 2 a.m. and do graffiti till the sun came up. Like, I used to try to break dance a little bit. Like, I could scratch a little on turntables. Like, I make beats. So for me, I was just like, I loved it all. Like, I used to know people that were just on some underground time and know people that were just on commercial time. But like, you know, I would make mixtapes that would have like Company Flow and Jay-Z like back to back, you know what I mean? And so I was always into both. I was always loved both, you know what I mean? I think over time, you know, you kind of had to leave New York City in a weird way to find the tournament freestyle shit, because I think like I mean, End of the Week held the torch for like underground hip hop open mic, and their vibe is anti-battle, you you know, the MC Challenge was not a battle, and like I don't know why it kind of the battles faded, but like you used to have to leave New York for that. So I think over time I gravitated more toward the street style because I feel like it ended up ultimately reflecting the environment more and speaking to me more because it just felt closer to the core of like of where hip hop came from in certain ways, which is funny because I think people outside of New York, you know, sometimes when you're outside of a culture, you like you said with wrestling, it's like there's certain things that you interpret a different way and maybe take more seriously. And I think a lot of people outside of the city, outside of New York, like made up their own rules that they interpreted that were much more orthodox than the rules that we had, you know what I'm saying? And so like, it's funny that the written street style was something that they would kind of shit on. I think a piece of it is a little bit of racism too. And so I think for me, it's like just the language that's being used, the slang, the type of wordplay, you know, the freestyle shit really kind of went in a direction that was very like, you know, just jokes, a lot of homophobia, a lot of racism, you know, racist jokes at least that, and then the kind of technical wordplay on the street side was a little smoother and a little more like mature in a certain way. And so for me, that just became like iller, more exciting. And then also it's like, it's black and brown people that are the, you know, the people who are driving the culture 9 times out of 10. So like to navigate that space and to like be able to get accolades there, for me, it was more meaningful than like going outside to this other kind of secondary interpretation of hip hop. Not to discredit it at all. It's just like, for me, I want to be popping in New York. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to respect it at least. I don't need to be famous, but like, yo, this dude gets it in and he's serious about the culture and the craft. You know what I mean? So I think if I had to choose, I'd say the street shit, but I really was a fan of both. You know what I mean?
I really like how you answered that because it got me thinking, and those are like cool answers. And it's just stuff I've experienced where now I have a lot of people who give me a lot of opinions about music, and there are a lot of people who call a certain kind of hip hop better, but it's because they don't understand the New York culture that led to New York hip hop. So they call it better, and often they'll use the word lyrical as though somehow other stuff isn't lyrical. Anyway, I don't think people, you know what's great? Just on a side note, the same people who will criticize hip hop lyrical will then call like an 8-word rock ballad like the most profound fucking piece of art, and I'm like, are you kidding? Like, yeah, you do know what you're saying? Anyway, lyrical.
There's so many words in a rap song, like so many words.
Funny thing about what he said too is like how they hate about that, they hate on like the written part of it. When Mike Assassin came out here to battle Dayton, Katana, Nems, and Iron Solomon, it was mad funny when Mike Assassin came to Coney Island and he was battling Nems, and he was talking about how, yo, that's written. And OTR was like, get the yelling. He was like, get the fuck out of here. We don't do that freestyling shit over here. He's like, the fuck out of here with that shit. Man, funny. And you can hear him on cam saying that shit. What?
I'm about to tell this guy.
Yeah, I'm about to tell these guys.
Yeah, we did that. We did that shit right in the courtyard, like in the little, like, you know, annex that had like the roof over it. Like,
yeah, because it was raining out that day. Yeah,
that dude was horrible, man.
No, but yo, but some real shit though is that same day we went to Coney Island so Nems could battle Mike Assassin, and then Iron Solomon, he went to battle somebody else, and then
he went to battle Katana, Dayton. It was Dayton, Nems, Katana, and Iron Solomon.
And then I went in the morning to Old Dwyer's and met everybody. That happened. Then he went to battle 2 other people, and then we met him in Times Square like 10 hours later and did that battle where we got kicked out by the cops. You know, that
was hilarious.
Those are all hilarious.
Yo, that was the first time that I heard Solomon. That was, say that. That was the first time I ever heard anybody speak on how they're racist in England and shit. But you know what? It's not the same thing because that's our word in America. You know what I mean? And it's a horrible thing. It doesn't mean the same thing to them at all.
That's a loaded one. That's a very loaded one.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to talk about that right now.
Yeah, listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, right? Like what Iron's talking about is like I experienced it.
I'm not
like,
saying it's right at all. It's fucked up. But I see it for what it is though.
When I was at Grind Time, like just being on their platform, it just got me to a certain like type of fan. And like when those fans followed us to Facebook and other social media, and they see that like, oh, like I'm not like the same mold that they expect from all the other guys that kind of cool with certain shit, like they're no longer want to be fans, and you inherit a lot of those fans from Canada too. Like it's not just like middle America, like
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all over.
But in battle rap,
man, it's like
there's a lot of fans from Canada.
It's like, not just like it's a big topic, right? Because it's not limited to this one sphere of things. It's pretty prevalent in a lot of spheres of things with a lot of ways that it can be justified and talked about. And yeah, there's too much. It's not a good topic for the vibe. That's what I'm saying, in my opinion.
Word.
I don't know.
No, that's a good distinction to make at this point while that discussion was beginning. That's important.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's the kind of thing where if we want to talk about it, we have to pre-screen it before we go live on Twitch and have that conversation and make rules and a few other things. It's too wild.
I only brought it up because it was in the video clip and I never saw anybody talk about it before.
I mean, Disaster had us beefing with the whole country almost because of what he said, remember?
Nah, but the conversation happened.
Pay attention to a lot of it though.
The conversation happens organically, and Holden is saying, rightfully so, that it's a bigger topic that he would like to table, and we can go to the next clip if there's another clip.
Yeah, there's another one. I figured, like topically, it's not like no longer relevant, right? But like, let's fucking the homie, like.
I believe we're live. So what's good, everybody, and welcome back to Bridge the Gap. This is the show where we basically take super smart and talented and amazing people and like super amazing people like Dama that we have over here, and we have conversations with them and we walk through their life and we learn and we extract the knowledge nuggets of their existence, and we gotta kind of learn and grow together with the whole situation. My name is Holden Stefan Roy. I'm bad at remembering to say my own name, so just happy to have you here, Dama, honestly, for reals. And unlike most of them, we just want to say an extra special thank you and start maybe with a bit of acknowledgement that you have probably had not the simplest week, because Dama is down in Texas right now and is here doing this interview in spite of everything that's maybe gone on and stuff. I think it's pretty remarkable and incredible that you would even prioritize doing this in a time like this instead of anything else you could be up to or getting to. So to me, it speaks so much to your character and the kind of person that you are, and so it makes me really appreciative that you're here in spite of the week that you've had and etc.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. We actually got power back yesterday, so we had yesterday to kind of, decompress and rest. So, we still don't have like our hot water or internet. I'm using hotspot right now, but it's back to business, and I figured now would be a better time to do this too, so I could kind of share some of the resources with other people who maybe want to look into if they're interested in helping out, or if they're out here and they're watching right now, places where they can go for some resources, because a lot of people are here without water still, and without any water, and any power and stuff, including in our own apartment complex. So yeah, so I definitely wanted to just do this and talk about the music and myself as well. There's definitely some selfish shit going on my part as well. But, I'm definitely trying to spread some awareness.
That's dope. We thought it might be like a more interesting place to start this time in light of the typical questions, just because of, I think it's really important, and if people are going to watch this in the future, this is probably the part that they're going to catch before they, get deep into it. So I don't know what you want to share about that, or what people can do to help, or what's going on, but that would be really interesting and insightful and useful.
Well, I would say that there's a bunch of grassroots organizations going on in both Austin and Dallas. I'll share the Dallas one first. Latinx Dallas, Feed the People Dallas, all on Instagram, and Funky Town Fridge are all giving out water and food and different relief efforts. And in Austin, I would suggest that anybody that's in Austin to look at When We're What Austin on Instagram, because they have compiled a whole list, spreadsheet of what's open, warming centers, places that are giving out free food, and places that are open to just sell food. And there's a couple of grassroots efforts
I just linked
by
the music video in the chat.
hold on, sorry. Shaka Select, CHAKASEELECT, that are doing a bunch of stuff out here in Austin and bringing food and water to people. And there's a couple of other people too, Certified and Dominican J, that have been like driving around and getting people that have like 4-wheel drive trucks and kind of just bringing water to people and milk to people with babies, and just basically, and it's all on Facebook. So, you tag somebody that needs help, or if you have like a, elderly relative or something like that that's in their home that can't go anywhere, they'll make a big effort to deliver to you all over the Austin area. So I'm very happy that these efforts have been going on. And, also to go on FEMA and fill out that application to try and get your any type of bread that you could get to make up for this loss, because I know a lot of people have lost stuff in their homes, the food in their fridge, the week's worth of work, the damage to their apartment. So, just looking for help.
Right. Yeah, it's serious though. I mean, were you badly impacted by it? I don't know to what extent that you went through this week.
Well, Sunday night at 2 a.m, we lost power, and I started looking it up, like what's going on, and I saw that it was supposed to be rolling outages where, like, they take certain areas and take the power out for like 40 minutes to try to conserve power, which was a stupid thing to do during a blizzard. It was a crazy blizzard that night, and they couldn't bring the power back up, so it wasn't a rolling outage. And a lot of, like, I think it was 4 million people in Texas that lost power that night, and some other people lost power either the next day or the day after that. So we've been without power since Sunday night, and that first day that first Monday we built a fort, and we set up candles under a can of soup and heated up the can of soup using candles. And then the next day, a couple of our friends hit us up that are all in the area that are also impacted. And we were like, just come over here. Like, let's all kind of rough this out together. And Craig went and got a shopping cart from up the street, just some abandoned shopping cart, brought it here to our patio. And we brought like firewood and lit that bitch on fire. And then we were cooking. And we were lucky because our apartment complex also has propane gas lines to the grills. So we were able to grill during the day, but like at night, it's really cold. So it was good to have that firewood and the shopping cart. So we made a really nice meal out of that. So it was all about just kind of figuring out how to eat, how to make sure the dogs were okay, because we have a really small dog and my friend has a dog as well. So we kind of had to, look out for the dogs. And, our friends was here and we were just making it work. Mm-hmm. But then on Wednesday, most of our friends like went home by then, and they went home and they got some power, some water, something like that, and then we were still in the dark. So I was like depressed because it's just so, you know, it's like parts of the day that feel okay, but then other parts feel terrible. And I have asthma, so my asthma was acting up all week. Like my breath is just starting to get back to like a good place. So it was really stressful, and seeing the lack of accountability on the electric company from Austin Energy to ERCOT, who is like who managed the whole electric grid of Texas, basically like telling us nothing over and over again. And like I'm looking on Twitter and I'm seeing all these different zip codes and all these different people impacted, and the kind of stories that they were sharing, and it really like, because we're young and able-bodied, and you know what I'm saying, like super survivors, like, you know, we made it happen. Me and Craig have both been through a lot of different natural disaster situations. I was in Zone A, living in Brighton Beach during Hurricane Sandy. So, you know, this isn't my first time, you know, playing cards by candlelight and, you know, getting through some kind of natural disaster situation. But during Hurricane Sandy, the hurricane itself was one day. The power outage was, you know, a week or two, depending on where you were and what kind of place you lived in. But we kind of escaped and, you know, went to another part of Brooklyn during that time. But this time we was just like here in the thick of it. So it's been pretty hectic. But I'm really grateful. I'm just so grateful that the power is back on and we're able to, you know, live and breathe again.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like it reminds me honestly of the ice storm that Montreal got in '98, where basically it was like 2 weeks of it was extreme weather, power got clipped for whatever reason, and then 2 weeks of like no power. I was young. I was barely impacted. I got bounced around to people that had like heating, that whatever. So I know my parents went through the same experience that you went through. I did not so much, but definitely a lot of people in Montreal had that. And so it really reminded, because I saw some videos of like the ice on the streets and just the general vibe of what it looked like. And I'm like, yo, that reminds me of '98 Montreal. So it's like really... What's really interesting is that it's Texas that this happened in, just on like a whole other level, because you're just not like expecting it there. But I definitely
yeah, nobody here is like prepared. They don't salt the streets, they don't plow the streets, so it was like impossible to drive. You know, it's like they're not like, everybody keeps saying like the infrastructure is not prepared for this type of situation. So it's been hectic. People have died and stuff. Like people died in fires or from carbon monoxide inhalation because they're like lighting fires in their house and stuff, and it's just like so sad, so fucked up.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of those things where like you just watch it from afar all week and just kind of like hope. But I really do like the fact that you shared the ways that people can get involved and help, and if people do know that. So I think that was super cool of you to do that and to be so informed and to be so active with it. And I've seen you sharing stuff throughout the week too, so like that's really cool of you. I'm not sure what else to say on this vibe, but because it's all like super serious and stuff. I don't know.
Yo, you know that I just had to look up what the word for it is, but it's called the uncanny valley, or like the uncanny effect, when humans have like a sense of like hatred and wanting to kill things that look too much like them but aren't them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like the reason Homo sapiens like killed other humanoids, or why we can't get with the whole robot thing, or movies that have like, it's not all the way animation and not all the way human. It's like we hate those things. So I was just like looking at my former myself from a week ago or whatever, like wanting to like jump and kill it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not me.
I had the same kind of like I don't normally talk like that. So I was like, I don't think I've ever okay, I know how to make that voice on command, but I've never heard myself use it before. So I was listening to myself use that tone of voice the whole way through that, and I'm like, that's so weird sounding.
Well, listen, I put it on.
not only because, you know what I mean, it's the only clip that we got of Dama's, right? And we want to definitely have her on the, but also like you could update us. You're here, like update us with how everything's been since then. How have you been? How's the dog? How's the neighborhood? How's your town, your city, and then the state?
So there's still people out here without power and shit. There's a lot of food being given out. There's a lot of help going around. I don't really know, honestly, because we've had power for about a week, but we just got hot water back like on Friday. Wait, when did we get hot? Yeah, like on Friday, last Friday, or no, no, we got power back on Friday. Wait, what? Am I bugging? What world am I in right now? We got showers back on, was it Monday? Sunday? Whatever. But the shower basically feels like an old man taking a warm piss on your head. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no fucking water pressure, and it just feels like fucking just like just an old man pissing on your hand.
People pay top dollar for that.
Hey, right now I'd pay top dollar if it included 3 old men pissing, because
most
the water
likely the
pressure
day
is
that
horrendous.
gas came back on is the day that the hot water came back on.
We don't have gas.
Oh, so it's electric. Then it's the electric hot water heater. So that's the day.
Well, for us, for a lot of people, not just us, what happened was the freezing of the pipes and freezing of the boilers and freezing of all those things.
Oh, I see.
Made
Yeah.
it, when the electricity came back on, there's
You burst
still
the
people
pipes.
out there that just got regular water back, like pipes busted.
No doubt.
Everything's been crazy. So yeah, like we're lucky none of our pipes busted, honestly.
Wait,
Like,
hold
we're
on. I
blessed.
just got back. Whose pipes got busted?
Yo,
people's houses.
Yo, check this out.
Oh, my
bad.
In New
guys,
York,
yo, my God, yo.
Yo, in New York, that's why
take away your
when you
fucking
rent,
toys, yo.
when you rent, you get free heat.
That was very
because if
Damien
not,
of me. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. It's like you get free heat in New York, because if not, the landlord's pipes, all of them are gonna break if he doesn't heat the building. But now they freaking heat trace the pipes. They put these wires on the pipes to keep them warm in the winter. So they make people pay for heat now with electric heat. It's such a scam.
What do you guys
Very
think about
expensive.
What do you guys think about solar? You think that shit is ever gonna pop off in Florida?
Solar's the
my place?
shit. Of course, it would. It definitely would. But they're against it.
You just need backup. Like I feel like if you have solar, like an individual house should have solar, but some kind of backup generator for when it's like a lot of sunless.
I think you
time.
just don't have solar.
They
I think
have
you
that.
still
You can get a
have your hooked
powerhouse.
up.
You can get a
And you
basic
could still have your
powerhouse in your
electricity
backyard.
hooked up.
This is what
All
I
I
do for
know
a
is
living.
that we're getting a fucking generator, man, because that's not. But this is the thing. Even if we had a generator, we would have to get a space heater in that time period. Like right now, we'd have to probably get a space cool. That's the thing about Texas is like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, but now it's back. Everything is nice. Me and Lady Earth were planning our video shoot, so we've been getting up every day, working out and just planning shit. So
A little freeze is good for you.
My week.
Put hair on the toe knuckles.
Yo.
Your toe knuckles.
Cannot, yo. I cannot, yo. I cannot. All right.
I'm glad you're doing
No,
cool,
but you're
Dharma, and that
good,
you're being
Dharma.
productive. Like that's blessed. That's a really cool thing. I'm looking forward
As
to
good as
more of
good
your
can
music.
be.
Because
Yeah.
that song was amazing. It's still stuck in my head, and that's
Hey,
a big
thank you.
thing. It's like when the song plays and you haven't heard it in a minute. That's how you know it's like a really, really good one. Like
Thank you, yo. Thank you.
I
I'm
don't want to
excited.
get packed up for your love.
yeah.
Yo, you know what's a real good other like to see if a song is like in your psyche, like when as soon as you wake up, the song that's in your head. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
cool.
It comes out of nowhere a lot of times when either you've been listening to like a specific piece of music for a while and it's like embedded, or just randomly. But like
Share with us, Van. Tell us what's in your mind when you wake up in the morning.
most often I wake up and there's a song like that's like it's just there. you know, and your joint.
No, I hear him.
Your
I
joint-
relate to that.
Your joint is there.
Nah, that's how it is.
It's like the random moments in the day. When
Yeah, that was sweet. I like that.
You get caught by, you know, like a piece of music, and like when you're not listening to music, it like replays in your head. You know, it's like it becomes like, you know, part of your day, right?
Yeah.
And when those moments happen, I'm always like, oh, word, like, you know, whether I know I like that song or I didn't recognize it or not, it's like I like that song a lot, you know, and there's a few parts of the song that replay. So it's
I love that shit. That is fire. Yo, that track is fire. It's fire.
Hey, that's what's
It's a
up,
good
man.
song.
Thank you. I was looking at the video today for When I Trap, because it's not like all the way done yet, but it's like very close to it. And that shit is gonna be crazy, but I really want this track to get I really want For Your Love to get its just due.
I have
I feel
visions
like
today about that.
Dama,
It
are you
needs to be
gonna do?
huge, man. That track could be it's so dope. It's so appealing.
Well, it needs to be heard.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
know,
I'm saying? Like
I
I feel
know,
like
I know.
because I feel like, and I don't feel like this about everything I've done, but in these songs specifically, I feel like once play gets pressed and the song gets heard, it is undeniable that you're gonna fuck with it. But the hardest part has been, besides my people obviously that support me and whatever, like, you know what I'm saying, that's always there and listening to my shit, like, besides that, like, people outside that, like, just outside that reach, like, even people that I know well enough to do that with, just don't press play. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like weird. Like,
There's a lot of people follow the trends and what other people are listening to. You know what I'm saying? That's unfortunate, but a lot of people are like that. That's mainstream.
It's
They don't
so
have a lot-
annoying.
It
What
is.
I would like to see everybody follow is, like, with me, when a friend of mine puts out something and I believe in it, I send that to every radio DJ that I know. And if they play it or not, it doesn't matter. You're still giving some kind of exposure. It all fucking helps in the end. I wish everybody would do that.
For me, the best exposure for a song like this, because for a song like this, the best thing that I could ask for is for people that hear it to send it to somebody that they think would like it. Because like I listen to a lot of indie music, like indie pop and shit. And like people that I know that listen to indie pop, that when I hear a good, like, whatever, Electric Guest or Tame Impala or whatever song, and I know they're into that type of shit, I'll send it to them. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, you know, it's like when people do it with their friends, it's more like, yo, check out my homie shit. And for some reason, psychologically, it evokes resistance. You know what
That's
I'm saying?
100% facts.
People don't want to listen to some shit that's like your friend's shit or your shit. They want to hear like the shit that's like, yo, I just heard the song in a movie and like I'm dancing to it in my house, bang. Or like, yo, like
that's
I
actually
just stumbled upon the song on the radio and I thought of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so
that's interesting you say that, because I think that song just needs to find syndication in a movie or something.
You know
That shit
what?
will make it
I'm
fire,
trying to
'cause,
submit it for sync licensing for sure.
While
that's
we're
like
talking
where I
about
picture
it,
that.
folks, you know what? Hey,
Okay.
what better to do?
Put the video on, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
Good call, Dutch.
Cause I don't wanna get locked up for your love. Fuck around, get stuck for your love. I don't want to. Cause I don't wanna get locked up for your love. Fuck around, get stuck for your love. I don't want to, but I will if I got to. Get it how you live it, but we don't get it alone. You call me when I'm slipping and drinking, you bring me home. I ain't got no other lover cause it's only you on the throne. So don't play me like a dumb bitch, I'll punch you right in the throat. I ain't love these guys until I met a lucky guy. See me in my funky state, and he ain't even run away. Now I ain't got no time to waste on complicated conference calls. They got me on the late shift. Don't tell me you're sorry you ain't make it. I will end a bitch career tonight, and I will get locked up for your love. Fuck around, get stuck for your love. I don't want to. I don't wanna get locked up for your love. Fuck around, get stuck for your love. I don't want to, but I will if I got to. Make me an offer I can't refuse. Promise me your love stay true and true. Yeah. No, you want it and you fuck with the vibes. No, you want it and you fuck with the vibes. No, you want it and you fuck with the vibes. But can you keep it honest? Always stay by my side. And can you love me forever, not just love me long time? Definition of a real ride or die. And you know where you go, I promise I will follow. Long as you fight for my honor and don't fuck with these hoes. You know that it's a given, we don't fuck with 5-0. So if they take me away in cuffs, you know, tell them 0. I keep them 7 below, the trunk is fully lethal. You never seen a bitch so ready be a felon before. I do anything for you until the end of the road. I stop loving you and hell gon' freeze you.
Yeah. I have a question from the audience who wants to know who directed the music video.
Jazz Carter is who shot and edited the music video. I came up with the scenario for it, and we just went from there.
Yeah, so many, like Van said, that shit is expertly sequenced. Like the way you switch flows and melody and cadence on every part of it. It's very masterfully done because the beat is just one loop. It's just a loop. It doesn't. There's nothing but, and that your vocals really shine in that. And it was a great beat. The way Craig did the beat and the way you chose to do what you did over that is really, second to none. You know what I'm saying?
I love that part with the sample when it goes da da da, and your vocals kind of.
Me too. And it comes in and out. This is what I love about that beat. Like, that's my ideal beat right there. Like, I've been telling Craig ever since that happened that he did that to make me more beats like that, because that is my ideal, like, for real, because it's so simple. And, Ame, my engineer, he was able to take out parts and put it back. Like, I wasn't even expecting what he did with the promise me your love stay true and true, where he took out everything and started bringing it back, and then we worked on the bringing it back part together and whatever. But yeah, I love a simple song like that has something, whether it's a bass line or a sample or something that comes in every now and again and leaves you wanting more, because you wouldn't love that vocal part as much if it was continuous. You need that shit to go away and then come back. And when I first heard that beat, I'm like, this is my beat. This is for me. And I love that song so much. So thank you for saying that, because I love that.
It's my beat.
Right.
Yo, that's the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it gives your voice so much time to breathe. That beat, it's perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, Dan, I'm sorry to cut you off, bro.
Damn, if we wasn't streaming, I would fucking show y'all the When I Trap video preview, but I can't show that shit online yet.
Well, maybe it's an encore. But just to say, I definitely listen to the song mad times because the homie, but also because like, you know, there's performance, like we're in the Zoom, it's like prevalent, you know? And there's a bunch of times that happens with other artists and like, it's not the song that pops into my head at the random time. So, you know, I think you got one. And
that bass hit hard. That bass
I
hit
love
hard,
Fairy.
dude.
Thank you, man. Thank you, bro. That bass hit hard, man. That bass hit hard. That mix is so good. A-May is so good. When you listen to it in the car, you hear
I
the
noticed
so
when I
hard.
made that, when I did the my little set for that night, when I was going through everything, like, yo, that shit really, you could tell the mix on that was exceptional. Like, yo, that shit really shine.
I'm so glad I got like I found like my engineer, because he's a good engineer at mixing singers and rappers and beats. Like the shit be sounding crisp, and he's like A-May is somebody that you could work with, because I'm very hands-on. Like I'm hands-off until you're like 75% done with the mix. Then I'm all the way hands-on for that last 25% to make sure we do all the things and the edits and the dropouts and, you know what I'm saying? Like all those extra things.
Yeah, it's like take care of the meat and potatoes, and I'll do the little nuances. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a good song. I like it. It stayed stuck in my head. That was my big parameter for it's good. And I could
I want
picture
more.
it in a whole bunch of
That was our
movies.
destructive criticism right there.
We need
Dama.
more Dama.
That was our destructive criticism
Ah,
right
for
there.
real. I'm real excited for the Dama album. That's not like a lie.
Me too.
No hyperbole.
Turned
Yeah.
into I'd so boom for a second.
What is it? Gangsta Bitch Love Music?
Gangsta Bitch love songs.
I was close. I feel
Yeah.
not close enough, but
No, very
I'll
close.
do
That
better
was-
next time.
Ooh, dangerous.
It's been called variations of that. Gangsta Bitch Love Music, Gangsta Bitch Love Stories, Gangsta Bitch Love Songs. But Gangsta Bitch Love Songs is just like, bam. You know what I'm saying?
Gangsta bitch love ballads.
Yeah.
I feel
Actually,
that.
the second one is going to be Gangsta Bitch Love Songs Volume 2, The Ballad of Anelia Lowe. So, ballad is in there.
All right, so so it works anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess Flacco's clicking.
Dio, that's
Oh
why
my
it's hard.
gosh,
The
Nunzio.
big deal stories. He'd be like, the one where Biggie gave me a blunt. You know what I'm saying? But-
To be fair, let's talk about the one where Biggie gave you a blunt, because that's as cool as
Okay.
probably all the other ones.
Because this is a realization story for me, right? So you got we were going to the Palladium, and Funk Master Flex was spinning, and they had some new music for him to play at the Palladium, which is always a great thing. You know what I mean? New music nobody's heard before, but you know it's so hot. It's like the crowd's gonna fucking love this. So he definitely was at the studio. Everybody comes through. You got Total, Black Rob, The Locks, all the Junior Mafia, Little Kim, and then you got all of the people that come with that. You know what I mean? A bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? So where it's like a celebrity fest in that motherfucker.
D-Rock.
So you
Yeah,
gotta,
exactly.
So you got to
D-Rock
understand,
better.
Nunzio, I am a 33-year-old dude. You are listing the people that were basically my inception to fucking hip hop, and you're just like you got to understand. This is where like
because
you're
I'm
New
gonna
York,
tell you why.
because New York has
This
a different
story
perspective.
explains it. This story explains it too. So I'm already in awe of Biggie, and we're like, yo, he got a huge jar of weed from Branson. Branson shows up. We already know what that means. And you might know of Branson from Redman
He
Comments.
does not
always
know.
comments
He does
on
not
his-
know what that means.
No, I don't know what anything means.
All right, so no. Branson, Branson is
basically
basically
the
connoisseur.
either.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't know what a palladium is. I don't know what that is. I'm not gonna lie. I was like a Google later moment.
All right. So you get weed in plastic jars or in bags, right?
Yes.
Branson is like the upper echelon of weed in New York at this time. Like, he's got a bunch of celebrity clients, and he puts his weed in the sealable jars. You know what I mean? Like, that you would put preserves in, which was, to me, was genius, because we had never seen
And
that.
this is in 1995,
Right.
before the marijuana industry as we know it
Yeah.
exists. So before anybody was ever doing any of this stuff that exists now, that guy was doing it then for the celebrities in New York City in 1995.
Apparently,
That's
Branson's
insane, right?
also on the 24 Hours to Live track. Is a place he's actually mentioned from CB Mac, who's watching on my side of things.
Yo, on a lot of songs, dude. So Branson comes by, he brings him an ounce in one of those jars. But now everybody in the studio, for some reason, nobody had any weed. So Big is just giving out weed to all these people. So myself and two of the other assistants, we get together. My boy Coco actually knows Big. So we like, yo, let's get like some money together and ask him for some weed. Coco's like, bet, let's do that. We get $20 together, and then we like, here, Coco. Coco's like, nah, yo, I always do it. One of y'all do it this time. And everybody's like, come on, dude. You know him like that and all of this. So long story short, I end up being the person that got to go in and do it. So it's just him and Little C's in the room, big ass jar of weed sitting in the middle of the table, and they both smoking joints by themselves. So I walk in and I'm like, yo, Big, could I get like $20 worth of weed out of the jar and all of this? And then he looked at me like mad, like, what? He was like, yo, man, don't ever be coming in here waving money trying to get weed from me and all this. So I'm like, oh, shit. Like, this nigga set me up. Like, I feel bad. Like, he's about to yell at me. And he's like, yo, dude, we family. Put your hand in the jar and grab some. Like, that's what's up. You know what I mean? Like, don't ever do that. Don't be coming in here begging for weed and shit. Like, grab some, dude. We family. Like, smoke. And I was like, oh, shit. But you know, me being the person I am, I just grabbed enough for us to fucking smoke like 2 L's, you know, which is what we was trying to do. You know what I mean? And the funny shit is when we went to the Palladium, he came up to me like, yo, do you have any of the weed you took left? I was like, nah, I only took some so we could smoke then. He was like, because he ran out, you know what I'm saying, in the Palladium. So I was like, damn, I should have grabbed more. I'd have been a man. You know what I'm saying? Because I would have had that.
More. I got a question. What's a Palladium?
The Palladium is the greatest, fucking hugest spot as far as hip hop goes at the time. It was right on 14th Street, and it was downtown, and it was just a huge fucking space, 2 floors. There's like a balcony area, stadium seating on that balcony area, and everybody who's anybody would go through there at any given time. And the line, you could be waiting like an hour. You could have got there when the doors open and be online for like an hour, 2 hours.
Okay. So I have another question because Big Zoo said a keyword that popped out to my young teenage self. So a big deal in my high school life was when Avril Lavigne showed up to a white party in a black outfit or something and he let her in. That was like big fucking headline news, right? And that's huge because, yo, I'm Canadian. Avril Lavigne is fucking royalty. Let's be real. She's dope. She's also, fun tangent point, she has the 10th best-selling album international in Japan. Avril Lavigne outranks the Beatles or some shit. It's fucking nuts in that chart in Japan. Anyhow, so tell us about the white parties if you were there, because that's fucking insanity to me.
I don't really do white parties, but he throws a lot of parties.
Okay.
So, you know, if I'm not working, I'm at those parties, and you know, it's a beautiful thing. So there's 2 that I'll tell you about. There's one that was just a pop-up, like out of the blue. There was already a party going on, and Puff's in the studio. He's in a good mood. He's like, yo, everybody go to this address. So it's like people are piling cards, and we just go to the address. And when we get there, he goes to the front. Of course, he pulls up in like the limo and gets dropped off. He got a driver, you know what I mean? So he pulls up, gets dropped off in the front. signals everybody to come over, goes to the dude at the front door. I want to get all these people in, blah, 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 etc. No pat down, we good. It's me. And they're like, cool. So we all get in. We go inside, and the first thing he does is go to the bar, and he's like, yo, throws like 10 G's on the table, and it's like all the drinks are free for the rest of the night on me. So it's open bar. Everybody's getting drunk. And we dancing, there's mad chicks in there, we having a great time. I get a tap on my shoulder, turn around, Robert Downey Jr. Yo, you got any papers to roll in? And I was like, yeah, actually I do. And I pulled out some papers. And he's like, cool, man. He's with 2 badass black chicks. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker. Like, okay. So I turn around, still chilling with my peoples. He taps me on the shoulder again. Yo, you trying to smoke? And I'm like, you're Robert Downey Jr. Hell no. Like, all the drugs and the shit that you've been through, like, I'm not taking that chance. No offense, but I'm like, yo, you fuck around, and this is a term that we use. I'm gonna wake up in the morning with a cheeseburger in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? Which is a gay reference, like you're gonna end up getting ass fucked and waking up with a pain in your ass.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I was definitely like, no, but I was like, holy shit, it's Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean? But I found that to be crazy, but that happened a lot. But one of my great moments was also at the Palladium, and I'm with some friends of mine, Zoo included, and Harv Pierre, who is the head A&R basically of Bad Boy, he walks up to me and he's like, yo, man, like, I want to thank you for everything you've done. Like, you're a big part of the family. You've helped us in so many ways, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, oh, that's what's up. Like, thank you. And then he walks away, and when he comes back, he's got a bottle of Moet. And this is like $400-500 in the club at that time. And he has it on the bucket of ice with the glasses and everything. And he brings it to me and is like, yo, this is for you. Thank you. Like, and I'm like, oh shit. And in front of your friends, that's crazy. But in front of all of these other people, these women that you don't know, that is even more bananas. And then we're in there chilling, and Puff walks up with Bobby Brown and does the same shit. Like, oh, what's up, yo? And after he left, then it was like, ding, 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 ding. We were like superstars.
Yeah, that was
turned down to Jeffrey.
Holy shit. Yeah.
That was big.
I don't want to monopolize the time, but I do want to say something really like, holy shit. Nunzio has one of the best episodes. But
yeah,
yo, Holden, I think the like magic of this segment is your like humbleness, and you're like, it's premised on, yo, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but like, I want to know, you know?
And your honesty, your honesty too, your honesty, but you're intrigued. You're very intrigued about things and very energetic about things too.
Yeah, he's enthusiastic to learn about things that he doesn't know, and he's willing to be taught, which is a rarity in this day and age. It feels like, you know,
it's really significant to say, like, yo, you said you like, you made a face, which was like, Nunzio was like, yeah, you know, like this thing, and like, you know what and you all know what I'm talking about, and you're like, actually, the whole premise of this show is so that we can clarify those things, because I, for one, don't know what you're talking about, and
don't know what you mean.
And the way that it happens, like the way it feels like the overarching, you know, thing about this segment, this show.
You know, I put extra sofrito on it when I explain it to the homies and shit. Like, I make Holden sound like he's like the ultimate like backwood Canadian. Like, I don't know what you mean.
No, but that's not that's the thing. It's definitely not the case. Like,
put extra sofrito on it.
Already,
what you talking about?
Already, no, but like really, already very knowledgeable about hip hop in general. But then, like, the stance that is taken in journalism today is like, all right, I already know about you. Like, how can I put you in the hot seat? You know what I mean? And and like, you know, that's not what Holden's interested in doing, and he's doing a good job at extracting good content from people, even though that might not be the thing that everyone else thinks is the way to extract good content. So you know, I think the humility is really important, and I think like the just the idea of like, hey, you know, as a journalist, like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Why don't you tell me? Because I want to hear your interpretation of that. So that's like, that's really, I felt that big in this last, you know, like view, and wanted to say that again.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I don't mean to monopolize the time, but like that's
Nah.
that's
I'm
how I feel
really
right
not going to be upset with you
The
monopolizing
kind words
the
are
time for
definitely
that.
welcome.
Nah,
Listen.
it's fair. I just think it's interesting stuff. Like, yo, it's super hard to Google most of the things that people would think would be easy to Google. And I
I
just
can't wait till Holden comes to New York and uses all the phrases he learned. Like,
Yeah,
yo, let's go
nah,
catch the
crazy.
jokes.
I'm gonna take care of
Let's
the
go
kids.
get-
Like, I already
Yo,
told
let's
him,
go
like,
get the jokes at the Fendi store.
like what? What? I'm gonna have,
Yo, let's
I'm gonna
go
have
to
no.
church,
You
St.
see, that's
Patrick's
what's
Cathedral.
not gonna happen. I'm gonna have him on my hip. I know that he probably have a heart attack if y'all tried to take him to do that, and I'm not letting that happen because I'm a good New York, you know, guy. You know what I mean? Like I
Nah,
know
he got to rob the weed spot to hang with us.
No, he does not. And he's gonna be here with his woman. That's not happening.
nah,
I
I'm
gotta
good.
I gotta account for
I'm
him. I gotta get him back over that border.
I just like to live my life like, yo, especially in another country, just act like you're always going to be filmed.
Where's the wall? There's no wall.
Yo, I think that we're gonna wrap it up with that one. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I did. I understood.
You do know what I mean this time. You do know what I mean this time. You know? Yo, thank you to everybody in the EO Dub family on the EO Zoom. Everybody in the building right now. Shouts to all of y'all. Van, thank you for participating. Dama, Souls, Damien. I would like to say thank you, but like I also feel like
Sorry.
you know,
I apologize.
yeah. You know, there we go. We break even.
You were
We
asking
break
for an
even.
apology.
I don't say thank you. You apologize. It's perfect. It's wonderful. Yo, shouts to Ox, Cabin in the comments, Script, Il Answer, Bong, Big Sis, Danny. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody. Holden, you want to take over with shouting out everybody in the Twitch chat?
Yeah, shout out everybody watching for real though. We appreciate you. Glad and Jenny still with us. Ismail still with us. Other people just keep jumping and going. I know Political Panda was with us and had to go to bed or deal with kids or something. Parent stuff. That parents start saying parent stuff. I definitely just kind of blur it out at this point. I don't fully.
Yeah, you don't even know what they're talking about,
Parent
right?
stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things that I don't know about. But
Sounds
yeah.
like nice.
But for real, it's dope for everybody watching everywhere, even y'all in the Zoom. Like it's cool, like just to have all these people here, like collectively, it makes it more fun. It makes it more dope, right? Like things are kind of boring when you're by yourself doing it, you know. So having the camaraderie and just all the different people popping in, like Vanguard is just amazing context, and you know everyone else is amazing context. But like, not to say that he's better, it's just the most recent one. But like, yeah, it's just dope, and I appreciate everybody for real. It's just it makes it fun. Saturdays are less boring. So yeah, thank you all for real. I don't know what else to say except for that at this point, but yeah, I guess that was a good episode, everybody.
You gonna raid anybody?
I'm totally gonna raid DJ Blaster because he's live right now. I don't know if other people are raiding on the other end, but I'm gonna start that now on my side.
DJ.
It's
Yeah,
jokes.
he's Canada's drunkest DJ. That's
It's
his
Liddy,
branding.
bro. It's Liddy, bro.